Okay, I'm good to go.
Welcome back to the Thinking Critical Comic Book Podcast. You're here for the best damn comic book show on all the interwebs, YouTube, comic book podcast, where it's the comics aficionados. We got some controversy to talk about today. We got some great comic books to talk about. We got some upcoming things of some intriguing stuff from DC Comics as well. We've got a lot of great stuff. And we, of course, got the comics aficionados themselves. Great panel today. First up, returning after our It's a Complicated debut, Gevian. That was a lot of fun. I don't think people got that the conversation was supposed to be complicated.
That's right. It's supposed to be uncomfortable. As you can see, I'm back. I'm back after that deadly, dangerous appearance on YouTube. They haven't put me on a ban list yet, so we see if we can get me banned this coming Sunday next week. I have fun doing it.
Yeah, that was fun. We're going to make it happen. We'll get kicked off eventually. And
that's right. That's
also
the goal.
Joining us, fresh off of a con convention appearance with Comics Elite. Drew, how are you guys doing over there in Indianapolis?
We're doing great, thanks. We just had Murat in our store. Things have been terrific this week. Murat Michaels.
That is good to see. And we saw those covers. Mm-hmm. Man, that second one's haunting. That thing was just disgusting. It's disturbing.
Yeah, John Jiang, he's only gotten busier. Trying to get him to do a cover now is almost next to impossible. But luckily he had a window, and we took the opportunity, and he knocked it out of the park.
Do you still have any of those left?
Maybe. I can't.
I doubt it, man. That thing was dope. I saw that. I was like, I'm going to have nightmares. I can't let the kids see this. So we've got Lane Kramer in their house. Thank you so much for supporting the channel early. So for Trial of Magneto predictions, 3 issues of court drama, a la Law and Order, Professor X with Perry Mason moment, Krakoa is the killer, Jelly of Wanda's powers, and Scarlet Witch Rez. Everyone's going one of us. I don't know. That might be right, Doc. I imagine we're not getting anything as good as Law and Order. It's going to be more like the Kardashians go to court.
Yeah. It's gonna be like a really, really, really terrible episot of Ally McBeal.
No.
As opposed to the good
Dancing
ones,
Baby,
right?
everybody like.
I just remember that show ever existed.
And I'm like, okay, that's Baby. Everybody, if there were memes and GIFs at the time, you never would have saw the end of it.
Oh, I know.
Remember that?
That was the
So,
birth
I don't
of
know.
memes.
We'll see what happens with Trial of Magneto. I might sneak a peek at the first issue, but I'm not expecting much. And again, thank you very much, Lake Grave, for supporting the channel.
It's
Who else we got? Yeah. Who else we got here on the panel? We've got out in Berkeley, California, we got Yul Carter at Fantastic Comics. Once again, sporting the nerdware on the head. What's going on?
Yeah, man. Pokemon Go. I'll send my I'll give you my number later if you guys want to join. We'll raid together.
We can.
Oh my god!
Can we have a clan? Can we have a name?
Yeah, sure. Why not? No, everything's great. Glad to be here. Looking forward to this. And afterwards, I'm going to open up the store and sell some comics.
Nice.
Yeah.
Next up, from parts unknown, the curmudgeon critical, the salty bastard himself. Pele, how you doing?
I'm all right. Doing pretty good today. Yeah, I've got a name for that group. Yeah, the middle-aged men in basements.
There are no basements in the Philippines.
Just
middle-aged.
Just kidding.
Practical, there's too much flooding here.
Oh. No. I love the Philippines, man. That wonderful place. I need to go back. But beautiful here in the Smoky Mountains. We are having a great time. We're going to talk about comics this morning and tomorrow morning, and it's just a comic weekend. So, hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Last but not least, we've got the co-host of the Comics Aficionados. We're likely ready for a heel turn. What country is he going to turn on next? And drive the viewers away.
Oh, hell
it's going to be France.
Is that a heel turn?
It's not really France when I've been like. It's not really a heel turn when I've hated France since like 1996. So
the good news is, based on demographics, the French aren't an overwhelming majority, or even part of the viewing audience. So
yeah,
heel away on France, I guess, if you have to. We can just be nice. We got a few things to talk about here, Doc. Darth Bobcat wants to hear what you got to say about this. Judge declares Magneto guilty, but commutes the sentence to time served because you suffered enough being written by Leah Williams.
Time served.
I feel like that is. I feel like being written by Leah Williams is cruel and unusual punishment for that in the first place. So he actually might have a civil suit to file against Marvel Comics.
Yes. The first time a fictional character has successfully sued a company for doing them wrong. So thank you very much, Darth Bobcat. That was pretty good. Let's get right into the big controversy. This thing is gone out of control, Doc. I know you're a big fan of Rob Liefeld. He pushes some people's buttons. Not everybody loves him. He's a little bit, you either love him or you hate him kind of guy. And it appears that Big Apple Comic Con is not a fan of his. Apparently, he pulled out of his appearance of the con a few days before he was scheduled to arrive. And they're still saying he never told them, even though he's like added them on social media multiple times. They're coming off a little odd. What are your thoughts about Liefeld? What's the 411 here?
I feel like Rob might have a little bit of thin skin, but Rob tends to be all business when it comes down to business. I guarantee he informed them as soon as it happened. His representative informed him. Just because whatever millennial fucking weirdo is running Big Apple Comic Con's Twitter account didn't get the memo from the bosses that Rob pulled out of this event, doesn't make it true. I don't understand where the kerfluffle is here, because Rob is a professional. He decided he's not going. I guarantee he told his representative informed them, said, hey, Rob can't make it. And then they said, okay, well, bummer. We'll see him next time. And if there was any money exchanged, okay, well, you need to refund your, appearance deposit or whatever it is. Yeah. And then just because some fucking idiot social media millennial idiot doesn't get the memo, doesn't make him still attending. It's like people don't want to listen. Instead, and you know what? I guarantee this, whoever's running that Twitter account is just too lazy to go and ask the boss and doesn't want to admit, oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, you know what? That was a mistake. I wasn't informed, but the bosses were. So, yeah, sorry, guy. He's not going to backtrack. I mean, this is Twitter. Nobody backtracks.
They double down.
Yeah. And Rob kept going after them every time there was a response saying, hey, these guys are liars. Like coming straight out and saying, liar. Yeah.
This is, and now Rob could do a little bit by prescribing a little bit more to Hanlon's law, which is never attribute to malice, that which can be equally explained by ignorance or stupidity. And he, he immediately went to lie, and there's a degree of malicious connotation to a statement like that. And I think it's just an idiot social media millennial that doesn't know, because he's so far down, or he or she, whoever's running that account, is so far down the totem pole that they don't know. They're not informed of this. They're getting paid, $8 an hour, and tweeting from their underwear in their parents' basement with whatever email their boss at Big Apple Con sent them. That's their memo that they have to. Here's what you got to release over the next couple of weeks.
But
Talk about this.
But Doc, okay.
Hold on, guys. We gotta acknowledge Chuck's skills here. What does the sophisticated comic book reader do on a Saturday? They hang out with the comics aficionados. You're damn right. Thank you very much, Chuck. Skills. Right. You've got skills, sir. I'm sorry. Please continue, Yule.
I was going to say, but Doc, Rob is low-hanging fruit for people to make fun of, whether it be in person or on social media. But he has been dragged through the mud a little bit the last few weeks already, so he's a bit sensitive come this time, I think.
I think Yeah, a lot of these
No.
social media guys, they just can't handle Rob's low-hanging fruits, though. Dan's got balls, and he's not going to let anybody just walk all over.
Don't talk about Doc's man cave that way.
Yeah, no, but you're right. You know, Rob got a bunch of shit from a bunch of no talent hacks in the industry. Yeah, like, I mean, people that are ostensibly his, I wouldn't say they're his contemporaries because none of them could basically sharpen his pencils. Most of the artists in the industry and most of the writers in the industry can't even, they aren't even good enough to be his non-paid intern. But so and Rob's had, I feel bad for the guy because, he was the butt of a lot of jokes throughout the 90s.
Dude, I told a lot of them.
Oh, I did too.
Back when the no feet thing was original.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, I told a lot of Rob jokes, but you know what? I always did it out of a place of love because I love that dude. He is the closest thing to a modern day Stan Lee you will get when it comes to being out there and selling fucking comics.
Yeah. Todd.
All right. Well, I do want to hear from Drew over at Comics Elite.
So we had
you guys book a lot of talent, right?
Yes.
I imagine sometimes you have people pull out at the last minute. Something comes up, whether it's an illness or maybe there's plans change. It's got to put you out. You can understand why they're pissed.
We can understand why they're pissed, but I mean, at the same time, I mean, I'm prior military, Sean's prior military, and just the term is adapt and overcome. You roll with the situation. And Doc is 100% correct. So we had Marat Michaels here at our store, who is that BFFs with Rob. And I asked Marat, I'm like, hey, did you see this? Have you heard about this? Marat was like, I'm staying out of this. I don't know what's going on. And but we know, I mean, Rob did his due diligence, and someone had an axe to grind. And Rich Johnson, not helping the situation either, just only made it worse. And so I'm willing to bet, Rob did his due diligence with this. And yes,
hopefully he addresses it on the podcast, as Darth Bobcat is signaling out right there. He's one of the few comic pros that will actually say real information. He doesn't sugarcoat much.
Yeah,
that's right.
And he calls people liars.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I love about Rob. It's one of the many things I love about Rob, because I was a kid when Rob was the guy, reading Supreme. I remember reading Supreme and just being blown away by the art. But Doc is 100% correct in this. Yeah.
So Jermaine is somebody that's more of an outsider. I know you got your own stuff going on, and you sometimes peek behind the curtain of comic books, and I'll send you a link every once in a while. And seeing this, Big Apple Comic-Con is doing themselves no favors. They're almost trying to emotionally bully him into arriving at something he's already canceled for. They won't let it go. It's just making themselves look really, really lame.
Oh, yeah, no. And having worked as an executive assistant when you've had to book appearances for your boss, the thing is, and Doc, again, is 100% right on this one, the lowest person on the totem pole, when they screw up in terms of confirming or not communicating to their superiors that someone canceled or couldn't make it, they'll just lie. They'll just lie and say, we got that email, or we never got that email, this never happened, this and that. I was in a situation one time when, and I've been in a situation many times, the first thing they say is, we called 50 times and we never got a response back. And in this particular case, my employer was good friends with the person they were trying to make the arrangements with. The minute I pushed my seat back to go get the email thread that showed that they never communicated to me, despite that I was the one reaching out to them and they weren't reaching out to me, the person said, no, sit down, it's not about that. So the simple fact of the matter is, I don't know Rob Liefeld personally. I'll go by what other people have said. If he's got receipts, he should just show the receipts and just squash the whole thing. Because at the end of the day, this is an electronic age. And if all that communication wasn't by phone and he has text messages, just throw up 2 or 3 text messages that shows this is the timestamp, that's when I said it, and it's over with. But you can best believe whoever was that social how did Doc put it, social media millennial moron, they just dropped the ball because not everybody opens every text they see, much less when they do read them correctly. And they just got caught out there, and now they're just trying to basically make Rob look like the bad guy so they can either guilt him into getting there, or have a reason not to give some of the people their money back because he won't be there. I don't know, but that's how I look at it. Yeah.
Get a Tally agrees with Chuck Skills. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. Watching Thinking Critical on Saturday mornings is the place to be. Love the panel. Press that like button, folks. Press it like you've never pressed the like button before. That's what I got to say. It's the precious like button. Make sure that you hit that bad boy. And thank you very much to Get It Tally. But it's kind of strange here, Yule, when I'm saying all this stuff. I'm halfway expecting next week we get word that Rob Liefeld's rabbit has been boiled or something. That's some payroll traction stalker bullshit.
Yeah. I feel bad for Rob, and at the same time, he's created his own situation most times also. But he seems to be a guy that really likes comics and has a lot of energy, and even to this day, and he's an old man now, and he's still important in comics, and at the same time, just like before, there's that group of people that always are shitting on him. So
do you think a lot of that's because he's willing to put a X-Men comic up and say this was better than the X-Men right now? Don't read that crap. Read this stuff. Kind of thing where he's willing to antagonize the current industry.
Look, he's just trying to express the things that got him excited as a comic book fan and to be a comic book reader. And when he did that, he was like, "Hey, look, I don't know what the preamble, if there even was any, but it kind of felt like it was understood that the Hickman stuff was good, and Powers of 10 and House of X. But if you like this, you should read this stuff that it's borrowing from, all the way. You should read where Moira McTaggart comes from.
That was his preamble. He's like, yeah, if you're really liking these X books, then you really need to read this Byrne Claremont stuff that all this stuff was built from. It was so amazing. But
it's popular to hate on Byrne also, especially now.
Oh God, yeah. But
so going back and, oh, hey, pay attention to this writer that's still living that doesn't do anything that everybody wants to read, instead of the people that are doing the books that you want to read with this guy writing it, and Byrne and Liefeld talking about it. I can't handle any of this. That's how those people are.
But I don't know. It feels like maybe he's an easy target, especially with the S.H.I.E.L.D. thing happening at Archie Comics, where he kind of pulled out of that at the last minute when some retailers ruined it for all of us. And I don't know. It does feel like he's an easy target, Pele, where people they think they can gang up on him. But in this one, it's like everyone can see through it. It's like, this is weird.
I think he kind of likes it, though. I think he kind of likes to start the spats. He kind of likes to spit in their eye every once in a while, to keep people reminded that he's still here. And I don't blame him. It's there. You can ride those mules for a long time because they'll just keep screaming and crying, and your fans will just keep buying your stuff. But he's right. He's absolutely right. I think he probably wasn't very diplomatic about it, but I don't think that anybody's ever accused Rob Liefeld of being diplomatic. So he's kind of mercenary, and that's kind of the reason why he's so beloved. He doesn't pull punches. He tells people what he thinks, and it's.
I think.
Go ahead, Doc.
No. I was going to say I think I agree with that to some degree because Rob's at a point. I mean, career-wise, life-wise, where he doesn't give a shit anymore. They can't stop him. They can't hurt him anymore. He's not young and just up and coming anymore, where the powers that be not liking him could basically tank his career. Mm-hmm. He manages to keep himself in the front page. He can be controversial without it actually negatively affecting him, because he'll still get, a G.I. Joe book. He'll still get, even if it's just one issue of the S.H.I.E.L.D., he'll still get Deadpool.
He's one of the few people that can move a G.I. Joe comic just because his name's on it.
Exactly. And he has no fear of these of these people. He has no fear of Rich Johnson.
Not at all.
If all of the screaming weirdos on Twitter decide to gang up on him, he knows, like Chance the Rapper said, like, just turn off the computer. Just walk away. I mean, what the fuck is cyberbullying? Just shut off the computer and walk away. He can't. And it won't affect his career because he can let stuff just burn out if he wants, and it's not going to affect it. But at the same time, he manages to reinvigorate his own fans. He manages to remind people he's still an active creator and then still make money.
Yeah, because the thing with Liefeld is that he loves this business, and the other part of it is he doesn't have what is traditionally the self-loathing, the low self-esteem, and the self-depreciation a lot of creators and a lot of people in the business has, and it comes across in spades. And that's why people love or hate him, because you love him because you don't agree with everything he does, because Rob is going to do what he wants to do or what he thinks is best. It may not be what's best, but he's going to do what he thinks is best. But the simple fact of the matter is you cannot deny his passion for this business. You cannot deny the fact that his bluntness about it. He didn't like Jack Kirby at one time. He says, you know what? I realized what Jack Kirby brings to the table. But he's not walking around ashamed of being a comic book creator or being a comic book fan or being a part of this industry. That's what I like about Rob Liefeld.
Yeah, he doesn't have self-esteem issues. Rob Liefeld does not have that. That man knows his worth. And he knows what he brings, and he brings to the table. He is a very loud and proud member of the comic creating community, and
he backs it up with sales.
And he's one of the good guys. He's one of the people that if this industry is going to survive, it's going to be because of the efforts of Rob Liefeld and people like him.
Very much a competitive alpha male, much like a lot of the other Image guys.
Oh yeah,
very, very hard to find now creatively. But he's that rare breed. It's fantastic to have.
He's not somebody's water boy or towel boy or whatever. Yeah, no. He's gonna stand up.
And the crazy thing, Drew, is they have some really good talent there. They have Jim Steranko and like Jim Starlin headlining the damn thing. They should be kind of like thinking about that rather than Liefeld not being there. You got Jim fucking Steranko.
Yeah. Is it adapt and overcome? You've still got names here. You're going to survive. You'll do just fine, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I still think Steranko is the greatest living legend in comics.
Yes.
But still, Liefeld's probably going to be there, but when he gets if he reaches that age, he probably will.
Steranka, you know what? Steranka and Liefeld, if you could put those two together on a tour around the country just to promote comics, Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. They would overnight start increasing comic sales worldwide.
Steranko, Liefeld, and Claremont. Put them on a 50 state tour or 50 city tour, of all of North America, and this country would be loving comics again.
So I need to say thank you very much to Kenneth Dowling. Although I disagree with you, I don't know where this weird love fest between you and Doc is, but apparently it's still going on. They're still courting. Hearing Doc mention Chance the Rapper makes him that much cooler with me. Go, Doc.
Oh,
there you go.
Yeah, and I couldn't quote that entire quote because I didn't want to get your channel canceled.
I do want to say this: if you like Jim Steranko, today after this at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, we are going to be retrospecting his 3-issue run on Captain America, and I just had this arrive today, the Steranko Visionaries collection, and it is absolutely beautiful. Yes.
Jim is one of the most personable people you will ever meet in your life.
Yes.
He will, he can have a line of 200 people. He will still spend 20 minutes with you.
Yes.
My wife sat on his lap and had a picture taken with him. Because he's like, he doesn't let people take pictures with him, or he doesn't let people take pictures in line. But he's like, is this your wife? Yeah, she's real pretty. Come here. You want a picture? You want a picture? And so
did she get a touch of the hair? That's what I want.
What's funny is he's actually taller than her. So, because even with lifts, he's about like 5'5", 5'6", and But no, he didn't. She didn't touch his hair. But he was very happy with his hand around her shoulder like that, though. But
the holiest of holies, Jim Steranko's hair. You don't mess with the dude. But man, I'm totally blown away. You guys are gonna love that retrospective, and they should probably be concentrating on that rather than coming off looking like scorned lovers now. Just such a bad look on the part of Big Apple Comic Con.
It does. I mean, look, all you're doing at this point, from Big Apple Con's perspective, is preventing him from ever wanting to come back again. Congratulations. You just made one of your biggest possible, living, still creating comic book guests dislike your convention completely. Because now it's a convention motherfuckers, you're the only reason you guys exist is because creators come to you.
Bingo.
Yeah. They're not.
Does anyone else have anything to say about this Rob Liefeld Big Apple Comic Con? Because I do want to get into some of the embarrassment for DC and Marvel this week. Anyone else have another point that they wanted to make about this? I know Gevian's got something to say.
Rob is always entertaining as hell. That's all I got to say. To this day, he's just entertaining.
Yeah, I mean,
he's never off.
He gives fodder for shows, and you don't have to really dig up resentment. It's all there already.
You get what you pay for.
There you
Absolutely. Go. So, moving from one embarrassing situation to a couple of embarrassing situations that happened within the last couple of days. We had Marvel. They are developing and debuting. Check this one out, Drew. The Captain America of the military. What a magnificent idea. Who would have thought about that character?
So I'm going to share an image with you. Let's see here. I'm going to bring it up. Give me one second. I'm going to share the screen. I'm going to share screen. There's an image I want to share with you of me in my Air Force days. So that's me at my staff sergeant promotion ceremony in the Air Force. And as soon as I saw that new Captain America in the uniform, I'm like, that's a staff sergeant uniform chevron he's got on. That's not a captain. I mean, these guys were so incredibly lazy that they didn't even think to look into what the rank insignia looks like.
Oh, my God.
It's ridiculous.
And the fact that it's the Captain America of the military, we already have that Captain America. It feels
He's
a little
called
redundant.
Captain America?
Yeah.
It's beyond redundancy. This is redundancy from the Department of Redundancy Department. It's
definitely thank you for your service, Drew.
Yeah,
really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Fellow Air Force man. I thought that was pretty stupid, but I'm not sure who took the cake. We had DC deliver a pretty laughable trailer for I Am Not Starfire, and then Gevian, the most cowardly thing you can do in today's comic book or climate on social media is to disable comments. You're just asking for mockery.
Oh, yeah.
I was wondering about that. So who can reply? People at DC Comics mention can reply. It's like, okay, so that means you already know what's coming. But yeah, I'm gonna leave this one alone. And the only reason I'm gonna say that is because now that has been made clear to me who the audience is for this. So it's a graphic novel for young adults. So with all due respect, if this is what the young people are into, then they have at it. But it's like, yeah.
You know where you'll find the advertisement for this comic book?
Go ahead.
Every single issue of DC this week. Every Batman comic. But it's not for me, right?
It's not for me, man. But I'll just say, look, yeah, when you disable the comments, that means you already know what's coming. So at this point, I'm going to give Mariko a break. If she has tapped into an audience that I am not aware of, I will gladly sit back and see who that is. But this going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. But disabling comments is kind of punk.
What's next? A Spider-Man of Queens? A little redundant. We need a Captain America of Luxembourg.
Oh, yeah.
Perhaps
the Captain America of Japan. That's the next one.
Oh, man.
And Everett Todd, Steve is actually a corporal in old comics. The MCU made Steve an actual officer. Yeah, he was in the military, and then he ends up being a part of the project, and he's kind of like an agent kind of thing. It's a little bit confusing, but hey, Carol Danvers is a major. I think she just got promoted to lieutenant colonel. You would think Marvel Comics and some of their artists would know where to find information as far as the rank insignia for the character that you got.
would think, except for, remember who we're talking about these days. I'm going to bet that outside of maybe a parent, I don't think that anyone in that editorial office actually knows, like is on a first name basis with anyone that has served at any point in the last 40 years.
Well, it says specifically in their interview where Chris Cantwell says the character is based on a friend of his.
Then his friend is a fucking idiot.
Or Cantwell just knows a guy and didn't have him as
he
a
met it while he was
rater,
making a movie. It was a documentary.
Oh, one of those friends.
And,
Okay.
Yeah. And
fast friends.
And here's like, no, but you know what? Look, the writers don't necessarily see it, like see all the art, and they're not going to necessarily recognize that. The editors, that's their job. Their job is to pick that stuff up. I'm going to bet that none of the editors know a single person that is served, and most of the artists that they're using these days are foreign. They're not going to necessarily, like Brian over on Rags. He's the editor and the writer, and he's active duty. So he's the one that's seeing all of Luigi's stuff. So anytime there is even though Luigi's foreign, whenever he's doing anything military wise, Brian's the one that's looking it over to see whether or not it's done right. But you have somebody that's educated on that to do it. But I guarantee that nobody in that editorial office and most of the writers don't know fuck all about what they're actually having. And then you have artists drawing it that aren't even American.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got Kenneth Dowling coming in here saying, Captain America, the military. What the frick? He's from the military. What the hell's going on, Marvel? Seriously, shaking my damn head. You and everybody else, Kenneth. That's the... We've also got Darth Bobcat. This one's actually pretty funny because it's true. And it makes me want to cry a little bit, Yule. If manga artists made it, Captain America Japan would be more like Steve Rogers than the Steve Rogers we have on Marvel.
He's not.
Yeah, sure. Japan, man, they love America. At least Americana, So I think I would love to see a Japanese Captain America. That would be fun.
I think it just shows their obvious disdain. These creators, it shows their obvious disdain for the military, despite the fact that they're trying to use them for their promotions.
Well, I'm part of that soft crowd. I bet.
No, I mean, but you're not trying to like.
Dad, you guys, the internet these days, there really is no excuse for it, though.
Yeah.
No.
But if you don't know to know, you don't know. You
got infamy or death, and I think this is the guy that's been busting my nuggets about my beard. Uh-oh. Listen, Doug, I'm keeping the beard, whether you like it or not. But thank you so much for supporting the channel. €549. Did you see all those ads? He's speaking about I am not Starfire. She's wearing Doc Martens, big blue socks, big fat freckled legs and arms, and a skirt pulled up past her belly button. It's a damn good character design, Pele. You're going to be able to sell that one, right?
Yeah, sure.
See that cosplay, yeah.
No, it'll be real popular because all those chicks can do it. But they don't even have to change anything. It's like, oh, this is the way I normally dress. But it's no, we're not selling that. Obviously, I'm getting a few, but that's not something we sell around here.
I can't expect it to do really well. It's just not really exciting.
No.
And that ad was so...
The voiceover for the character immediately makes you hate her.
Yeah.
All of it.
I've met someone that sounds like you, and I did not like that person.
Yep. Yeah, it's just this typical Gen Zer, just doing it because they have they don't have anything else to do, or they hate their life or whatever. It's just like,
You remember when you read Starfire, for the first time, and her sister, Blackfire comes out?
Yeah.
And she was like, she sold her sister into slavery.
Yeah.
And did all this heinous stuff, and now she's back, and it's like, I was on the run from all these alien fools, and, so scary. And then there's this.
Embarrassing.
Maybe it'll be good. Who knows?
You know what's strange, is DC is pumping money and resources into these YA graphic novels because there's a market for it. You know, people have been able to make money off of it. They have Primer, the original character they created, which is done well. It's like an anomaly. And then the only other characters that have worked in this market are the Teen Titans characters. Mm-hmm. Beast Boy, Raven, Nightwing, and I think I don't know, but you would think Starfire would be one of those characters. Yeah. Why would they want to poison the water by putting out such a shitty book? And then why would they promote it to me?
Well, I'm assuming that I don't know about the promote. They're stupid with their promotion right off the bat. I'm sure Gervain could talk about that a lot more than me. But yeah, but I'm not passing it yet. Hold on a second. What I'm assuming is you're 6 or 10 when you're reading Teen Titans Go, and you get to the age where you want to read something that's Starfire related, and this is it, and it's I'm an unlovable teen or tween or whatever, and I can understand that as a reader.
Now,
I'm assuming is
what's the real deal with her? Is she's actually the Penguin's biological daughter, and Starfire adopted her?
Nightwing's daughter.
There's some Cobblepot in there.
No, there's got to be. That's Cobblepot's kid. It has to be. I mean, there's no way. Yeah, did he slip her a Mickey, or did Cobblepot slip her a Mickey or something like that?
I cannot believe that Dick and Coriander made ugly, or the Swan and the ugly duckling, right?
Yeah, it can't be. No, there's something going on there.
Lade Kramer has to say. He's saying, I got the Beast Boy and Raven novels. They're actually pretty good with unique art. I wish they would focus on the Beast Boy loves Raven story. That's what they should focus on, Yule.
Yeah. Take the existing characters in the way they are. We like them already, and I'm growing up with them. That's an obvious, and I'm not changing anything that's too out there. It could have been anybody in the Teen Titans or however it works out, but just keep it that way. I mean, Starfire married or with a kid is not something I usually want to think about when I'm reading a Starfire comic book. Batman or Bruce in high school, with Selena and the Joker. That's not. They do those really younger ones. Scholastic has the DC superhero club thing or whatever it's called, and it has it's the one with Dustin Nguyen doing the artwork in there, and it's like Batman or Bruce in school, taking tabs on everybody like he would. And it has like homework and some cartooning and some writing, and it's a real interactive kind of book for kids to read. So it's a little different than what you would expect, but it's not so out there that someone that likes what they originally liked isn't going to have a problem with it. It's a good lead-in, but these, I don't know, man. I would just go read a Telgemeier book if I was a kid, or a Dogman or whatever, the young adult hot book is these days.
I wish I could remember the name of the book, but I can't right now. But Kenneth Dowling is off the dock train. Thank goodness. He's on the Drew train. Drew, thank you very much for your service to our country. And you too, Wes. Much respect to our military for protecting our freedom. Well,
thank you. Appreciate it.
It was my pleasure. I enjoyed my time, and I imagine Drew did as well. And thank you very much, Kenneth Dowling, for supporting the channel.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to say, if you want to read a good kids book in DC, read Challenge of the Super Sons. That is done perfectly. I talked about that with Nerdette last night. It is amazing. If you have a kid who wants to get into superheroes, read Damian and John at their best. Challenge of the Super Sons. That's where it's at.
That's it. Tiny Titans, like the Treehouse books. Those things are badass. My 6-year-old loves those books.
Oh yeah, those are good too. Yeah,
where it's got all the Titans like they're in preschool together.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just a very significant underuse of Dustin Nguyen, though.
Well, that's something he's doing all
I know.
His style.
Usually.
I know, because every time I think of Dustin, I think of him on like Authority Revolution.
Yes.
Yeah, his Wildstorm stuff, especially
Ascender,
Wildcats.
Descender.
Yeah.
But Dude, that's how great he is. He can do an all ages book, or younger than all ages, and then he can like pull out those awesome Hush series that he did with Dini. And he's a really, really talented dude. I like him. And those other books are just really good for younger readers.
His watercolor stuff is amazing.
We had a question that wasn't a super chat. Raina Telgemeier is like a real super hot writer artist that does scholastic books. And
she did Smile and
Smile, Ghosts, a whole bunch of them. Multi-million sellers.
What's so funny about that is that she sold all these millions upon millions upon millions of YA novels and everything like that. I saw her net worth is like $2 million. Either somebody's embellishing or she got a really rotten deal.
I don't know how great that Scholastic deal is.
The latter.
But, yeah.
I feel sorry for her because, it's she's been selling just as
she's a giver though also, so
yeah, that's probably it.
To have 2 million and be a giver, that's probably pretty good.
What I heard was that she pitched her comic books to Image and they said this isn't right for our audience. And so she went out and created her own market.
She also pitched at Marvel.
Yes.
She was working at Marvel. She did a couple of little things for them, and they're like, nope, nah.
Because what does that say about J.K. Rowling then? She's not she's a giver, but she's a billionaire. I just find it really odd.
She got movie deals.
Harry Potter's spawned out 9 movies.
Yeah, that's true.
A little bit bigger than this
guy.
guy.
I know, but she has like a ride at an amusement park.
I'm just saying that Telgemeier got a raw deal.
She has an entire amusement park.
J.K. Rowling's got fuck you money. Yeah, I like it.
I love the fact she's got it. She finally found her spine too. That was pretty good.
Yeah. She has an entire amusement park. Like the Harry Potter world is goddamn enormous.
Yeah.
So she's got 9 movies and a fucking amusement park, plus all of her books and all the licensing and everything else. Raina hasn't hit that level yet. If her stuff ever gets developed into film or television, then she will probably start getting fuck you money too.
Yep.
Oh, Drew mentioned earlier about Challenges of Super Sons, and I cannot stress enough how awesome that series is. And we finally got kids again, because I missed that. Ever since Super Sons got canceled, I didn't have a book that I could point, like fathers bring the little boys in, or the little girls, and saying,
Strange Academy.
I'm just talking about if you just want something simple, 5-year-old, 6-year-old kid, it's like, here's a comic book that you will love and that is safe for your kid to read, and you can enjoy it with your son or daughter, and that's it. And we missed that, and I raised absolute hell with them. I'm like, why did you cancel this? You have to bring this back. And he's grown up now. I don't care. I don't care.
Sean gets me crap every week for recommending it. Every week it comes out, I always recommend it because it's so damn good. And Sean is like, what is wrong with you? I mean, they're growing up now. I'm like, but this is how they should be. This is them at their, lack of a better term, prime, when they're kids. Both of them playing off each other as kids. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and that's what we need. We need more of that in comics. That's all I wanted to say. We need more of it.
Certainly canceling the Super Sons prematurely and aging up John Kent was even more embarrassing. But we're talking about this week, talking about the Captain America of the military, and I am not Starfire. I don't know, Doc. Did DC Comics, did they get enough mockery in the Twitter spheres for turning off the comments? There were some really, really good memes out there. I saw one where they basically replaced the girl with Danny DeVito, but with the same haircut.
Yeah, I mean, you got great. Like, DC knew what it was doing. I mean, that's the reason why I turned off comments in the first place. They knew that they were going to get nothing but mockery. But hey, they got everything that they wanted out of it. They didn't have to deal with the mockery, and everybody else signal boosted it by mocking it with quote tweets. Yep. So good job, everybody. I stayed the fuck out of this one, mostly because it was a joke to begin with. It was a joke when it was announced. The fact that it actually came out is pure comedy. I mean, DC wasted all of its time this week between that and actually releasing Kelly Sue's fucking Wonder Woman book.
Ew.
You know, it's I don't know. It's hey, they got what they wanted. They got a bunch of people talking about a book that nobody's actually going to buy, but they can go back. They know nobody's going to buy this thing. They know it's going to be a sales black hole, but they can sit back and whenever it does turn into a sales black hole and somebody starts asking about it, they can talk about how much Twitter engagement it got.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
all right, so we got a question since you guys brought up Super Sons. How can we DH Superboy? It's actually pretty easy.
Yep.
He was lost in space with his grandfather. He was located on Earth 3 with the crime syndicate in age 7 years. And then he came back. The Superboy that came back is not the original John Kent that went out there. He's the Superboy from the crime syndicate sent there to infiltrate the family.
Bingo.
Boom. You've de-aged him. You got to go find the real John Kent. It's easy,
take my money now.
Lemon squeezy. It's not that hard. You can do that one really easy. It's all built in there. And we have another request for Yule Carter. Can I see your full design Marvel T-shirt you're wearing with full screen and standing? I think he wants to see the form. I think we all want to see the form. You know what I'm saying?
Show us, man. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Is that a Defenders shirt?
It is.
That's Marvel feature number 1. I've got that.
Nice.
So do I.
First appearance of Defenders. Buy that book, by the way. It's just very undervalued.
Buy Avengers versus Defenders. Now that's a book.
Ooh. I gotta go with the Defenders on that one.
One of the first multi-part crossover. How's that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Absolutely. That was a great one. Do we have anything more to say about the embarrassment? You brought it up, Doc. We might as well talk about that too. There was some more embarrassment that kind of came out. It felt like when they originally announced the DC Black Label, it was names like Frank Miller.
It was
Scott
the best.
Snyder.
It was the best of the best, and Kelly Sue.
Let me finish. Come on, I make my point. It was Frank Miller, Scott Snyder, Brian Azzarello. Who else do we have in there? Jeff Johns. It was literally the best of the best. Then John
Murphy.
Ridley on another. Sean Gordon Murphy was not in the original.
Whenever
you're right.
Doc, let me finish.
Fine. I'm going to shut the fuck up
John
now.
Ridley on his other history of the DC Universe, which is like an 8 or 9 part series, which was kind of different than the rest. And then you also had Kelly Sue DeConnick doing a Wonder Woman book. And it was like, this is the best of the best. Kelly Sue DeConnick's never actually sold a comic book, at least at DC Comics. She probably sold quite a few of Captain Marvel when they rebooted that character. And it felt like they forgot about the book, Drew. I'm not throwing it to Doc because he kept interrupting me. It felt like they forgot about this Amazon history book with her and who was it, Phil Jimenez? And all of a sudden it shows up again. Were you as surprised as I was?
Absolutely. We completely forgot about this. I told Sean, I'm like, hey, do you remember this? He was like, no, bro. And we had to look into this. We're like, oh, they did promote this like 2 years ago. But I'm more excited for Phil Jimenez because I love his art, and it's a shame he's working with her. But I may have to check it out for his artwork alone.
Well, you need to check it out because they're redoing Diana's origin.
Yeah, again, yeah. I'm at a loss for words with it. I'm like, how many more times can we keep updating this flippant origin of hers?
That's it's a disgrace. It really is. Just keep the Perez origin.
Yes.
That's it. Period.
Yes.
You can't improve upon perfection. The Perez origin is perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, his person that revamped Captain Marvel. She fixed the character.
Fix.
Define fix.
I took my dog to get fixed the other day. He's not happy about it either.
There you go.
I feel like we really would have needed is for that All-Star Wonder Woman with Adam Hughes that was supposed to come out 15 years ago to actually come out.
Ooh. Yeah.
That would have been a much better choice.
Yes.
I would pay Frank for those last couple issues and get Jim on that All-Star Batman and Robin so I can finally have it collected, you know?
Yeah, all 12 issues. And
come on, it's time. Get that. Just finish that so that, stores can sell stuff.
He's an executive now. He got the time.
Well, they do still
He
have
draws on his YouTube. Oh, look at me! I'll draw the last 2 issues of Batman for everybody.
Remember though, they already did release all 10 issues in the Absolute All-Star Superman or All-Star Batman.
Oh, they did, didn't they?
Yeah.
Does that finish?
No. It just kind of stopped.
Jesus.
Oh yeah, some people are talking in the chat. Yeah, go get the omnibus or the original copies of that Perez Wonder Woman series from the 80s. Damn,
it's still cheap.
Because damn, it is awesome and beautiful. And the regular panels look like cover art.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it is gorgeous, and just read it, you'll love it. It's one of the best series that was in the 80s. Is just for you know, art, eye candy. You know, it's
presentation.
Amazing. Beautiful, gorgeous.
Just do a deluxe remastered edition of that for the Black Label or whatever. You know, just have George come back, touch up the colors if he wants to, but do a like remastered edition of it, and that would sell like gangbusters.
Adam Hughes covers. Yeah.
Yes.
Did anybody watch the 2009 animated Wonder Woman movie?
I did.
Yeah.
That's a great movie.
That's the one with the decapitation.
The correct origin of Wonder Woman, because Lawn Gnome says that's his origin.
Yeah, and it should be. And it's one that goes over real. It goes over real well with kids, because I know a lot of kids when they used to come over to hang out with my my stepson and my daughters, they always would ask me to put that film on. It had a real good appeal to both boys and girls. Yeah. That particular film, and I think and especially the ending of it. It leaves the door open not only for if they had done future Wonder Woman animated films, but just to lead you into the comics if you ever read them. Yeah. It's really a well done.
Yeah, it's like a little bit more simplified version of the Perez origin.
Exactly.
It's really, really great. We put it on at the shop, and it's real popular. And you know, it's ideal, and they need to stick with that.
It's just like he's saying, it's a distilled version of pretty much everything you've seen about Wonder Woman, with the exception of I don't think they did the tournament in it, which shows up to some other stuff. Yeah. But it's like, with the exception of the tournament of her competing for the role, it definitely hits all the major high points of her origin. So it's really good.
Great.
That's right.
So speaking of young ones, Gervain, you have a couple of people in the demographic that I believe DC Comics are trying to connect with. I Am Not Starfire.
See, I don't know if that's the case now, because somebody's gonna have to explain to me what is the YA age demographic.
I think it's like,
because with someone
like 11 to like 16.
It used to be like 8 to 15, but then it became like 8 to 22.
I don't understand.
So, Go ahead.
That's what comic books are for that age range. They're already being made. Comic books are being made every day. It is YA. I mean, I tell people, "Oh, have you read this book?" No, it's young adult. I already read comic books. Why would I read that? You know, I read a real book when I want to read a book. Okay.
Yeah, I just got one from Amazon the other day that showed up. It came yesterday. I'm going to read that tonight.
Yeah, I mean, there's areas that are specific. You know, this comic books are for young adults. It's the fact that adults also can enjoy them. I mean, there are exceptions, of course. You know,
of course.
You've got you're not going to give a kid the Tarot series or something like that.
Of course,
you know.
Not.
I mean, it is what it is.
That's the thing, you know. Underground comics in the 60s and 70s, independent comics of the 80s and 90s, and stuff today. There's always the thing that's going to skew a little higher. There's always going to be something for the really young readers, but for the most part, Spider-Man, and even a lot of the, if you listen to interviews with Bill Willingham, he even wanted Fables to be an all ages book, you know, a young adult book, if you will, you know, something that anybody can read. And so even Vertigo books could be an all ages book, if you look at it that way. There's not, please. I don't know.
I mean, I'll just say this.
It's already there.
Yeah, because jumping back a little bit, when we're talking about why is it that I, as a comic book reader in my mature 40s, am looking at a ad for I'm Not Starfire. Part of it has always been a problem. That's what the problem with house ads is. It's like because both DC and Marvel just basically take a shotgun approach to like they put the stuff in their books, as opposed to saying, well, does Batman, which is basically like what 80% of what DC sells, does it have a specific age demographic? I mean, is the demographic 12 to 65? If that's the case, then the house ad approach makes sense. But if it's something where it's like, if I'm seeing that book, if I'm seeing that ad and I'm Starfire, is the expectation that I'm going to go, hey, girls, you might want to check this one out because that's a huge fail. If the expectation is that my girls are reading a Batman comic or a DC comic, so therefore they see that ad and they go, hey, Dad, go buy me this book, they're failing on both ends because my girls do not read comics like that. And I suspect most, whoever this talking about, most 8 to 12-year-olds are not reading most of the stuff that is available in the local comic shop right now. That's just if I had to say my general impression, especially when I speak to most people and they go, oh, they still making comics? I just don't know who they're going after with this. So when I see young adult, now I'm just saying for me, when I see young adult, it's like, okay, this will show up in Scholastic, in my kids' little Scholastic flyer they get when they're at school. And I just don't see how you make the connection because their only connection to Teen Titans is that Teen Titans Go series. I'm sorry. If someone wants to convince me otherwise, show me the data. But it's like, how do you look at that show and that Starfire and make a connection to this one? Because this one, to me, it's like, oh, so you're taking the George Perez, the Wolfman Perez Starfire, and you're saying that's her kid. And I'm like, no, that's not. That is not her kid. That will never be her kid. I don't know. Did she adopt? I'm just, and that, and look, God,
she got really drunk and hooked up with the penguin. It was some Coyote Ugly shit. Some like she.
Hey, I got no grief with him. Man's got game apparently.
Yeah, and I know what they're doing visually with the book. I mean, I can at least assume what they're getting at by making her so visually different from her mom.
I like twins. It's funny.
Yeah, exactly. You want to emphasize how mothers and daughters struggle with each other, and as a daughter comes into her own. But I just think they went a little overboard in trying to visually get that point across. But the simple fact of the matter is, I just don't see, like, if I'm looking at this book, who is it that they're trying to grab with this?
Well, if Starfire had taken away the Pringles can maybe about 10 years ago, maybe the girl would look different. But
and Starfire is an absent mother. She's out saving the world, and this little girl ain't being
Dick Grayson abandoned his family, apparently.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I was just saying, but honestly, if they were playing this for comedic effect, this would be a Teen Titans Go episode. If they were playing it for comedic effect, this would be a Teen Titans episode, and Cobblepot would show up in the tower. But anyway, I'm just saying. I'm going to pick up my daughter. It's my week.
All right, Doc. I got a question for you. We've got a millennial on the panel. We've got some millennials watching the show. They're a little bit upset with the way that you disparaged an entire generation of youth. Are you ready to take it back and apologize?
Aww.
Fuck no.
There you go.
I'm Gen X. I don't give a shit.
Damn right.
Are they French?
I don't
We've
care.
got a Frenchman. We got French people in the comments as well. So I don't know. Not every Gen Xer is an absolute asshole like Doc, but there are enough of us that it is a wonderful representation.
Yes.
We don't.
Sorry,
care.
Doc's not going to take it back.
It's just because Doc's here. I mean, usually that's my role,
Drew's here, and he's millennial. He's a great guy. My little brother's a millennial. He's cool.
I'm born in that age range. It's like between Gen X and Gen Y. It's it's weird.
The Xenials.
My little brother wants to claim he's Gen X too. I'm like, sorry, buddy. You made it right on the edge. You're a millennial. No, fuck that.
No.
Sorry.
I make friends everywhere.
Oh my goodness. We've got Marvel 2099 with the 15 bad super chat. Thank you so much. Quick
Real
question.
dollars.
Breen buying Marvel Action Comics for my nephew, or been buying Marvel Action Comics for my nephew when he's older. Haven't read them, so it is a good comic. Is Marvel Action good, Pele?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
not bad.
It's not trash. It's actually pretty good. It is good for what it is. It is enjoyable. Just sit and read and to sit back. It's not in what I'd consider the top tier, but it's good material. So
you know what the problem with that book is, Pele? They have so it's for all ages,
right?
Spider-Man or Captain Marvel or whoever, and Avengers, and they have to be continued at the back of the books, and I really think they should be single issue stories, so that a kid could come in and pick up the second issue and not need it. They shouldn't be writing for a trade for an all ages book.
Yeah, this is a licensed one, isn't it?
It's IDW.
And that's it's pretty much the direction a lot of people think that Marvel's probably going to be going, is licensing out the books, but licensing out the characters. But it is what it is. It's good stuff. As far as you just want to sit and read a comic and enjoy it. You're probably not going to get a lot of ongoing story and stuff like that, other than just the continue to that one story. It's not going to have a legacy behind it, but it's fine. It's fine. It's and sometimes that's all you really have access to, because these are the books that are going to be available at Target, Walmart, stuff like that. So
awesome. Well, thank you so much for supporting the channel, and I hope you got the info that you wanted. We've got comic book artist Eric Canetti. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. And he's got some big stuff coming up in the not too distant future. I imagine he'll be announcing that on his social media soon. I Am Not Starfire is tone deaf and clearly wasn't based on data. It's the simplest data point should be, what do kids in the wide demographic like reading about?
Yep.
That's the problem, Gevian. It felt like a couple of dudes my age were like, what do the kids think is cool these days? And they decided to make this comic book.
How do you do kids?
Yeah, I use my wife and daughters as a impromptu focus group all the time, and I actually had them read one book that was about a Western, and that's what I learned. It's like they were like, well, they liked it, they didn't mind it, but it's like, so I said, well, what do you guys do? Like, it's fairy tales. That's what they said, fairy tales, both of them. Sometimes they like comedy stuff, but it's like, I don't see what's so hard about some of these people just doing with Nickelodeon. If you haven't seen this documentary, I think it's still on Hulu, about Nickelodeon in the early days, all they did was they went to a local elementary school, sat down, and basically showed a bunch of programs to some kids, watch them play with toys, and just asked them, what do you like to do? And they used that data, like Erica suggested, to basically start, creating programming for it. And I just don't know why it's so hard for these. Well, I know Doc is going to talk about the D list here. But it's like, why is it so hard to just do that and just say, just ask a bunch of random 8-year-olds, if you were going to read a story about something, what kind of stories do you like to read? And it's real easy. It doesn't mean you have to do a straight fairy tale, but at least include some fairy tale elements into it. Look at some fantasy stuff. It's like, or sit down with Raina Tellemeier and just ask her, what is it that you found out that all these kids seem to like? Because both of my girls are huge fans of hers, and I have to buy all her books when they come out. So it's just like, it's this not asking a simple question to get to a simple answer, to put out a simple product that will make you a lot of money. That's the disconnect. That's the part that I'm not understanding, because I'm clear with my daughters about what they like and what they don't like, and why they like it and they don't like it.
I think that they're so obsessed. They're so obsessed with subverting expectations that they don't really,
I don't think
they're not really hitting the mark. Even they're not even close.
I don't think it's that. I think it's a bunch of childless weirdos that honestly I wouldn't necessarily trust around children. So
that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, to Eric's point, I think he's right. It is tone deaf. It is tone deaf. It's basically like, okay, so somebody made this comment to me, and I think it was a guy, and for people who may hate him, is Ty Lopez. He said, basically, don't create supply where there is no demand. And that's what it just feels like is going on with some of these projects. It's like you're creating something that nobody's asking for. Back in the day, we say, because you demanded it, even if you didn't. Because you demanded it, that would be the tagline on the cover. But this feels like, that's why I go back to it. Who is this supposed to be appealing to? Because it's like, my daughters, that Starfire is not a frame of reference for them. For me, that Starfire is a frame of reference, but it's like, I know her and Dick weren't getting along, but like somebody said, Did she really
That
get that
could be
drunk
taken a lot
after
of
the
ways,
breakup?
Jermaine.
That's what I was saying.
Well,
I'm
who's
like,
demanding
come on
it?
now. Well, you're right.
Who's demanding it? Weirdo 30-year-old, 30-year-old chicks who don't have children. So
And
It's weird because
if they're selling, cool.
the reason we got
Yeah.
Secret Wars is because they went out and they did some demographic studies, and they found out there were two words that attracted comic book readers to a title: Secret and Wars. They put them on the
And they
title.
got me. They got me.
Well,
I
here's
bought
the
on 12.
Shooter.
here's the thing. The last time one of these companies did this, we got that Lego study. Did you ever read that Lego study about how boys play with toys and versus how girls play with toys? There is a huge fundamental difference. And but the thing is, you have a bunch of people that don't want to accept that difference. They don't want to accept that there's any difference. And as a result, they're discarding that entire methodology that is working.
There's no indications that this book is meant for boys. This is a book meant for girls.
There's no point.
It isn't that mark either.
My point is, they don't. This is a book made for nobody because they don't want to actually go out and do the kind of research that is necessary in order to figure out how to sell product to a target demographic.
Oh, they know the research is out there. They just don't like the research.
All right, guys. Doc, Kid Allen wants to say, don't apologize. People need to toughen up and take criticism better. Everyone's so damn sensitive. This is a band show. This show's for everybody. This isn't only for men. This is for people that love comics. There you go. Kid is back on the Doc bandwagon. We've got Wolfstein 3D. Doc is on the money. Jesus.
Yeah, goddamn, I am always
10
right.
times with all the adulation from the commenters. Thank you so much for supporting the channel and Doc's perspective. Doc is on the money. It's created by people that don't have kids and don't experience kids firsthand.
But
They simply don't know what kids want.
They don't.
Yeah,
and they don't know where
Go
to
ahead,
even
Doc.
start. Well, they don't even know where to start because the last time a major corporation did this, it gave them a response that they didn't like.
And can I say, and I'm going to piggyback on that because, Wes and I talked about this when It's Complicated. It came up in some of the comments, things about this, about the whole identity thing. And on several times throughout this channel, I've quoted this 2013 BET Network study, Movie Reels, where they just talked about black film goers going to movies and basically why they chose the movies they went to. And even though I keep saying that people are not quite hearing me, it's like when I say that, you should have a character that looks like a black person because it increases the identification relatability. I'm not saying that's the sole reason why you should create the character. That's the only reason why I'm selling. I'm saying it's just one thing that's being considered. But the simple fact of the matter is they did the study and they found that 80% of film goers went to movies that did not feature a lead that looked like them because their primary reason for choosing a movie was basically the genre. And the top 3 genres were comedy, action films, and romance. The fact that the characters looked like them were a secondary or tertiary concern, but it doesn't. All that meant is that if you basically create a film that's in one of those 3 genres, black audiences are going to be attracted to them. If you put a black lead in it, you'll get another 10% who will be interested in that. So to Doc's point, it's not like some people aren't asking the questions and getting the answers. It's just some other people who work at these companies for some reason are like, well, damn, the evidence, full steam ahead. And it's just like, to me, that is not, to me as a businessman, that it's like,
It doesn't make any damn sense.
It doesn't make any damn, thank you, Doc. It doesn't make any damn sense that for me to have that kind of research, then I would just basically go out and basically create a bunch of dramas if I'm trying to aim a book at a black audience or a kid's audience. Or if my daughters are saying I like fairy tales, well, here's a Western. Yeah, no, give me money for this Western that I'm trying to say. But I want a fairy tale. No, it's a Western. Give me money. It's like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
But they're playing. But the thing is, they're not spending their own money, so they don't care. They're spending somebody else's money.
That's the Eric
Bishop.
Bischoff.
Eric Canetti's got another point. And thank you so much for supporting the channel, Eric. Taking known IPs and leveraging their popularity in order to find a potentially new audience should be applauded. Absolutely. But it should be crafted with the understanding of that IP and the audience.
He's right.
That's right. So, like when Eastman and Laird said, "We're going to sell out," they sold out all the
They
way.
sold all the way, but
All of it.
because Wes, you did a video where I think it was Mark, and I don't remember his last name, where you guys were talking about the whole Pellegrini, what IDW was doing with one of the Ghostbusters series, and it was the fact that he was making a point, if I remember correctly, that because they were so ideologically driven to do the book, that even though the book was doing like sub 2,000 or whatever it was, they still kept printing this thing for at least 8 to 10 issues. And I'm like,
yeah, destroyed the sales for Ghostbusters to the point where they had to stop doing it.
And it's like you have a license that you're paying money for. It's one thing now from the outside, if I'm saying, okay, you do one Power Rangers book, and now there's like 20 of them, and you're doing it because you spent so much for the license, you got to put out enough books to at least try to recoup the money you laid out for the guarantee or whatever it is. That's one thing. But for you to be putting out a book that's clearly not working, those of us who know, and especially retailers, that about issue 3 or 4, you know whether this is going to be a dog or not, to go 8 to 10 issues with sub 1,500 numbers, I have to question who is running the IDW business, because you're not running a business, you're running a patronage. That's what you're
Marvel
doing.
does that. Marvel does that and DC do that all the time. They'll run books, that only sell 8 to 12,000 copies, and they just keep publishing the book. Squirrel Girl, hello, Squirrel Girl, hello, dude. That was horrible, and they just still kept pumping it out because, oh my gosh, she is just so outrageous. Yeah.
Then someone has to explain to me how these people keep their jobs.
Nobody else does.
I could
conditions in the contract.
Please, Doc, enlighten me.
I could spend hours on this, and it's all has to do with artificially inflating their numbers.
But the thing is, like in a certain segment or area, some of that stuff actually does well. I mean, I hate to
Girl and
break
Devil
it to you
Dinosaur
guys.
doesn't have to make money in the comic shop, because once it goes as trades in the Scholastic, it does very well.
But what I'm
just
saying
sell it
is,
directly
like,
to trade.
So at least,
I mean, I sold Squirrel Girl quite well. I mean, I was a store that sold Captain Marvel and some Kelly's. Until Kelly Sue went over to DC, she was a top seller.
You're the one.
I'm sure there's other places, though. And the thing is, like, if I can do it, there's other places that are bigger, not unlike my store, that can do it in a bigger volume also. And so, like, in our own little bubble, I Am Starfire might actually be able to sell. If you have if you have a store where lots of people that go into the library, and rent comic books, if they come into your store also, a book like I Am Starfire, I don't know if that one, but some of those other DC ones might actually, once you get through all the Telgemeier and you get through all the first, second books, and you're waiting for the next Scholastic, I don't know, something in space, Cleopatra in space or whatever. I'll get to this DC book now.
I'd really like to talk with you about this at length sometime, Yule, because we are like the absolute opposite ends of the spectrum on demographics.
But I'll
your
jump
shop
on that
and
one.
mine.
Yeah, that's the thing is that, because I was talking to a guy about this, and he started realizing, and I started realizing the same thing too, as you kind of travel through the country, is that Yule is right in this sense that sometimes the sales of some of these books are very regional. They're very regional. And even I would say, like in Chicago, there's 3 stores that I know that would do real well with Moon Girl, Devil Dinosaur, and something like an I Am Not Starfire, but Graham Crackers wouldn't. Crackers wouldn't do well with those books, and that's just the bottom line. But I think that's a far cry from somebody saying to me that you did this version of the Ghostbusters, because I did not hate the female version of the Ghostbusters, but if the market is saying we ain't buying more than 1,000 copies of this, and you keep going to 10 issues, I just got a problem with common sense. The common sense of that. That's what I got a problem with. If something's selling, then what am I going to say? You found an audience. You found a demand. You're meeting that demand. Great. I'm not going to buy it. That's got nothing to do with me. But if you're not even meeting the demand and you're still putting it out anyway, come on. It's business. Anyway, so that's going to lose me.
Ryan Wilson chiming in, and this is interesting. This is a topic that Gervain and I are going to discuss a little bit on Thursday. Matt, not exactly what this is saying here, but we are going to discuss this. Sadly, Marvel thinks diversity is what sells, and people want characters exactly like them. That's why white men like Michael Jordan and black men like Batman. It goes right into what Gervain was saying there.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna answer Ryan because Ryan and I go back. Ryan and I definitely conversate in the comments or YouTube. So I'll just say this again. I think what it is that there's data that's out there, and I'm with Eric on this one. There's data that's out there that is telling you one thing, but everybody keeps drawing a different conclusion and creating marketing strategies around what they want. Now, Pele said this already. What they want to believe, yeah, exactly. What they wish it was, as opposed to what it is. And it's like, dude, it's like, guys, at the end of the day, I'm sorry, this is what it is. It's like, you got to tell a good story.
Yeah.
It's a
You got
lot.
to have good characters.
You got a
That's
lot of
all
people.
it is.
You got a lot of people in this industry that they just have their major mental illness is just delusion.
Yeah,
They're just deluded.
If I can
All
say,
right.
can I say one last thing about I am?
Then we got to move on because we stayed on this topic.
If you're, especially for your daughter, if you're going to get your daughter I Am Starfire, you might just go and get New Teen Titans by Wolfman and Perez anyway, because it's a better story. It's going to make more money for the store in the long run, and it's a win-win for everybody because it's super great. So there.
Yep.
So Marvel and DC had some bad weeks. They had some bad stuff coming out, embarrassed themselves a little bit. We certainly went on far afield, but we have Gervain on the panel. You know you're going to talk about some marketing when you got Gervain in here. So that's absolutely going to happen. But we've got some more topics to talk about this week. They've tried to retcon Heroes in Crisis again. If you don't remember what Heroes in Crisis is, it's essentially where Tom King went in there and assassinated the character of Wally West, decided to kill Roy Harper and about 15 other superheroes at the same time. Also made Barry Allen look like one of the worst friends in the history of the world. And it's terrible. This is the second retcon and the third time they tried to address it. Now we know that his event where he exploded because he lost control of the Speed Force wasn't exactly that. It was another entity in the Speed Force, and his Speed Force trying to expel it. Drew, will they ever be able to truly retcon the stink of Tom King out of Wally West?
No, never. King, clearly with this new series he's got coming out, we're going to talk about later, they're never going to be done with Tom King. That stink is always going to be there. It's always going to be on Batman. It's always going to be on Adam Strange. It's that odor that never goes away. It's always going to be there.
Yep. He has the funk.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. You know, we're always going to remember it. We're always going to remember what he did. It's like one more day. We're always going to remember.
I will never forget sitting in my shop at 11:30 at night with two customers for the Batman Catwoman wedding.
Mm-hmm.
And
really
sitting there, never forget it. I will never get that $2,500 back.
Oh
for
my
the
God.
wedding cake and everything.
How big
and all
was
the
that
party
cake?
favors. And I never get that money back. Never gonna see that again. And at that moment, I hated Tom King, and it did not change.
I'm just trying to imagine a bunch of like us nerds with our cake fingers touching comics. I'd feel I'm like I can't eat cake here.
Well, that's why bags and boards, man.
If I known they were offering cake, I would have showed up, but I didn't know they were giving out cake.
I stayed in bed and sold them the next day instead.
I honestly thought that Flash Forward was taking care of retconning Wally.
Yes.
And I just haven't paid any attention since then.
Too.
And it did a relatively decent job of attempting to retcon it and just making him redeeming the character. And now it's like you're kind of undoing that. And it's like, no, you guys already kind of cleaned this up. Let's not dredge this back up. Let's not go back to this, please.
Right.
So somebody made a good point in the chat saying that Wally West now will forever be the DC's Hank Pym, and it's like, bro, I think he might be right about that one.
Yeah, because I mean, you had Heroes in Crisis that made Wally into a killer, and then you had Flash Forward, which redeemed him. And then they did Future State, which also made him a killer.
Killer.
Again. And now they need to fix it again.
Yeah, we have to come to the conclusion here that Tom King is a sociopath who doesn't understand character motivations or any of the characters that he's written, because he must take all of their histories and just flush everything. Say, I don't care anything about what they've done before. I don't care who likes them. I'm just going to trash this character and just sit back and watch the fireworks.
What he did in Mr. Terrific, that was straight up character assassination. I'm like, I hated that. I could not get over that.
So how much do we lay at the feet here of DC editorial? Is King acting on orders? Is it, look, I was just following orders? Or is this him coming to them and saying, hey, look, I really just want to mess with Wally West to the
No. No, Tom King is pathological with this. He is pathological with it, because look what he also did to Captain Atom. This is a character that is beloved for a half a century.
Yeah.
And
honestly, go ahead. Yeah.
And just absolutely destroyed him with the least important character that King has probably ever created.
And I've said this.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Doc.
No, go ahead. Well, I was going.
Honestly,
I'm going to shut up.
And let's not forget Kite Man.
Yeah, right. But let me get this out real quick. But honestly, in terms of when you're talking about a sidekick making the transition to a lead hero, I don't think it has ever been done or ever will be done as successfully as they did with Wally West becoming the next Flash. Mm-hmm. I just don't know how you take something like that and you just destroy it to this degree. Mm-hmm. It's like I didn't miss Barry Allen. I didn't miss Barry Allen once Wally.
Well, they tried to do it with Rick Grayson. They tried to do it with the Dick to Rick thing. They've really, really tried to permanently damage these characters. And
I think this brings up what Kenneth Dowling's super chat here says. Thank you again for the super chat, Kenneth.
Thank you, Kenneth.
He says, when you retcon something, there is an intention to clean it up. There is no retconning Tom King. Just throw it in the trash and move on. And he's not wrong, because as long as you undo something, you are now, I guess, just granting it some credence that it happened in the first place.
Mm-hmm. And definitely admit you were wrong.
Yeah. And the thing is, knowing Tom King, he will immediately try to unretcon the thing that you just fixed.
Yeah.
Given the opportunity, he will always do it.
Yeah. He is just he takes emotional glee. He's just this type of person that takes glee out of just trashing what other people love and care about. And I don't know. Like I say, he's a sociopath. The guy's a psycho,
Yeah, I'm fairly certain, like we said earlier, we're talking about the editors and him. I really think editors are scared of him because they know he will immediately go to social media as soon as he gets any pushback on what he wants to do. He'll throw them under the bus unapologetically.
Yeah, he's going to do what he wants to do, and he had so many fanboys at one, which he doesn't anymore. A lot of them dropped him. But he had so many fanboys at one point that he had a lot of energy behind him. He had a lot of power behind him, and I think that the editors just basically, we're just going to let him sit back. We're going to let him do what he wants to do, and we'll try to clean it up later.
Yeah, because they fired that one. He got that one editor fired because he wanted to have David Finch do a page, and Finch said he was busy, and editor was like, I can't agree with this, and King said, I want this guy gone, and he was gone.
Yeah, Mark Doyle. He was the Batman editor. Did we cover Kenneth Dowling's chat?
Yes.
We did?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Kenneth. I really appreciate that. We've also got Ryan Wilson. Did we cover this one?
No.
Not yet. Did we?
Do you know if they are continuing with Future State in the main titles? I don't see Batman heading in that direction because he would have to disappear soon. I don't see Tynan's run ending that soon. Well, they are certainly heading towards Future State. Future State is the magistrate taking over Gotham City. That is happening in both Batman. That is happening in Detective Comics, and it's happening in the entire Batman line in Fear State. In Green Lantern, that's heading towards Future State. In Superman in Action Comics, Superman is going to Warworld like he was in Future State. John Kent is going to be the Superman on Earth like in Future State. Teen Titans Academy is heading towards Teen Titans Future State. They're absolutely heading towards all that. There is a crisis supposedly on the horizon next year, I believe. And I believe that will be their get out of jail free card as far as that.
Yeah, they were all Future State was a good indicator that you need to get out of DC while you can.
No way, man. Yara Floor's still great.
I just said
you've
got to get out of DC while you can.
We're gonna be on the third artist by issue number 6.
Oh Jesus! No, there was something else that there was some other comic that came out this week, and I was like, "What the?" It's just you don't have any indication that the artist has changed, and even if it's someone that's good, you're kind of like you're a little disappointed, and it's very upsetting.
Yeah, the quality kind of dips.
Says,
yeah.
What were you saying?
I'll just say the quality dips every issue just a little bit more.
Yeah, I hear you.
Old School Comic says the big 2 editorials flaccid. You got a point there, my friend. We've also got Lane Kramer. Too bad Wally is still a serial killer no matter what, and Barry Allen will be left forever a failure not saving his friend and son-like figure. That was the saddest part, really, Drew, was the fact that Wally was just sitting there rotting by himself, and Barry never even checked on him.
No, it was
all right.
Yeah, it was disappointing, and I will say the one element of that comic I did like, I say like in quotes, was the Green Arrow and Roy Harper having kind of like their final, chat. That was one element I did like, but
Oh, you're talking about when in that Flash annual?
Yes.
Jeremy Adams absolutely does his best to kind of undo it. You just can't fully undo it.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, it's like I like what you're doing, but you're not. It's not helping. It's not helping.
Tom King really hates father figures. He did the same thing with Alfred too.
He also did that. Remember what he did to Mr. Terrific, right?
Yeah.
Character Adventures, when he admits that he was relieved when his wife died with their unborn child because he wasn't ready to be a dad.
I threw that comic down. I threw it down. I was pissed. I'm like, I've loved this new Mr. Terrific since Justice Society by Jeff Johns. When I read that, I threw it down. I'm like, I just want to be like, F you, Tom King. I wish he was here.
Piece of trash.
Yeah, that was gross. We got Eric Canetti. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Very generous. Get your editorial staff North Star established so when a Tom King comes in and does something far afield, you can have approve or veto. Always point to the leadership for accountability. That's a lot of what it is, Gervais.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And to talk about the Wally West thing, because people haven't read through it and most of you guys haven't lived through it. Look how he got to where he was to be the Flash. Barry Allen, the original, the Silver Age Flash, the one who basically introduced the whole Silver Age into it, goes out like a hero supposed to. Everybody knows the book wasn't selling well. There was a bunch of stuff going on, but he goes out the way a hero's supposed to. Wally steps into his boots, depowered or whatever it is. He's making his way along through life. And then one page Wade comes along and basically brings the whole thing home, where Max Mercury, who is one of the other speedsters, is confronting him about why he's not as fast as Barry is. He's like, you're afraid. And Wally pushes back saying, what are you talking about? I'm afraid. He's like, I love speed. I love running. It's my life. He said, yeah, but you love your uncle more. And then when that whole storyline ended, Wally West was set up as the uncontested, undisputed, you're like this universal Flash from that point forward. And then this guy comes along, Tom King, and totally, now I'm going to have to blame Jeff Johns because he brought Barry Allen back, which opened the door for this nonsense in the first place. But Tom King comes along and totally destroys 20-something years of great character building for a character that is not only in the comic books known as the Flash, but because of the Justice League cartoon, everybody knows him as the Flash. No, I don't get this. I don't like this. I don't understand it. You can't put it in a bottle and sell it to me. I don't know what these guys were thinking, other than that this is always the long-held hatred, deep hatred of creators of sidekicks. And this was like, well, Heroes in Crisis are coming along. We've all hated sidekicks for years. we've kind of like put it off. Let's just take them all out in one swell swoop. It just, Grayson becomes Rick Grayson.
Yeah.
Wally and Wes are dead. I don't know what they're doing with Donna Troy. She just basically, she's
she became infected.
I don't know.
The Batman laughs.
Yeah,
Fuck Tom.
That's right. Yeah, thank you.
But
Yeah,
Eric's point here is right, and same with Gervain. This reminds me of that conversation. One of the reasons why Sean Gordon Murphy left Twitter, because he was talking about what he wants in an editor, and part of it is a fucking spine.
Yep.
And in addition to knowledge and understanding of story structure and everything like that, having something in there that's a strong editorial and strong direction that can actually point to things where you're going wrong and where you're deviating from established continuity and established characterization is important.
And understanding of the market, and an understanding of the market that you are selling into. It's an editor. An editor is supposed to be, in some ways, almost an everyman, if you will. And they have to they don't have to be, it's like what they say. I'm not going to say, a master, a jack of all trades and master of none. I mean, there is some element to that. They have to have some strong points, but yeah, definitely the spine part. You're there as an editor. You're there to serve as a sounding board for the creator. To some extent, does the creator get to basically make the final decision? Yeah, because it's their name on it. But your name is in that book too. So at some point, if it's like, if we're going to put this foot forward out there, buddy, we're doing this together. And then, or at least have an understanding of who's getting thrown under the bus first. So I guess as the point that was made earlier, if Tom King can say, well, look here, if this goes bad, I'm throwing you under the bus. But the fact that they've had to retcon Wally West in record time, in lightning speed, in less than 2 years, they had to go back and forth for the story twice. And this is insane. That means you didn't put any thought into this when you started this. None.
No, he had the story. Talking about throwing under the bus, he did say, I presented the story. I did not have the exact characters. And he says, Didio came back and said, we want you to use Wally West for this.
Yep.
No. No.
Explain pretty much
you might have could have gotten away with. No.
How will Tom King ruin the human target? Well, he will no longer be trying to evade assassination. Maybe he'll dive into it. What do you think?
Hire someone to assassinate himself. He'll hire someone to assassinate himself.
Yeah, he'll just blow himself up. It's just,
he will make himself the target.
Yes.
Yeah, he'll be the target, and it's just, oops. How about what happened? Oh, he's dead.
And he'll start assassinating people.
Yeah.
Well, he just made Adam Strange like a war criminal, where you see him shooting prisoners of war in the back of the head as they're lined up and stuff. So
you knew that was coming. Yeah, about the fourth issue in, you knew that was coming. Yeah,
piece of trash.
Yeah,
like I was brought up earlier, I've always recommended the Flash Return of Barry Allen. My brother and I, we did a retrospective of that, talking about it. Now, say what you will about Mark Waid, but at one point he was great, and that storyline was fantastic. I mean, to me, even as a kid, to this day, it is one of the best Flash stories of all time, and I always recommend that to everyone. You have to read this.
It is literally Wally's origin story. It becomes, in a sense, Wally's origin story.
Yes, exactly. And I love Max Mercury. And that speech, that issue, I loved it. And
All right, so Kenneth Dowling, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Very generous. $20 super chat. For the last 5 or more years, the comic industry has let guys like Tom King and Ta-Nehisi Coates, who have no experience writing comics, come in and ruin our heroes. The industry needs an enema and hire real storytellers.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good Joker line. This town needs an enema.
Did they always do this, though? I mean, where did JT Kroll come from? Do you know who that is? Because if you don't, you'll never will. They ain't doing
where he came from.
Justice Society by Kroll graphic novels or anything like that.
I know where he came from. He was because this was part of the problem with early Aspen. It very much copied the original Image formula, which was, we got a bunch of really good artists, but let's just get our buddies to write shit.
It's just that it's always that way. I mean, Brad Meltzer, anybody? Joss Whedon, anybody? John Byrne brought Larry Niven over for an issue. It happens all the time. We always genuflect to our betters.
That's what we were talking about, Gervais. The real problem with the industry is the cronyism.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. It's systemic.
And the fact that they're all embarrassed that they're in comic books.
Yep.
That too. Yep.
In the old days they had the good sense to not tell people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the problem with journalism. It's like the problem with comics journalism and games journalism. They don't want to be in comics and games journalism. They want to do real journalism, but
I think comic journalists want to write comics, and that's why they can't be honest about anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As much as I love Stan Lee, he had that same complex too.
He did.
He did. He wanted to be a novelist. It was.
Vince McMahon. No one hates wrestling more than Vince McMahon.
Ann Nesenti did not want to write comic books. She definitely didn't want to write the comics she wrote. But Peter David was an accountant, right? He worked in the downstairs, and eventually he did some comics. But we all say, most people say that's the best Hulk run, and definitely the longest.
That Maestro War and Pax is so damn good.
It is. All of the Maestro stuff so far.
Feature Imperfect.
Does anybody have anything else to say about Heroes in Crisis doing yet another retcon just a couple years after the character assassination on Wally West?
Fuck Tom King.
Let's talk about something fun, because we got a damn good comic book this week from Nick Spencer and Mark Bagley. We got Sinister War 1. I thought the prelude was great. We get into this. This is one of the best comics I've read this year. You get everything exactly what they said you were going to get. You get the drama. You get all the the soap opera going on. Is he going to ask her to marry him? Isn't he? You've got the idea of One More Day is sitting in the background with Doctor Strange and Mephisto, and then you have this enormous gang fight between the Sinister Six, the Savage Six, and you got a couple other groups jumping in there. Doc, I know you were excited about this. Did it live up to your expectations? Because it certainly did mine.
Oh yeah, absolutely. At least thus far, we're not getting any, knock on wood. We're not getting any Nick Spencer pulling the rug out from under us. He's given us, you know what? I've been incredibly surprised at how much I love his run so far. And he's setting this up. He's bringing all kinds of subplots that he had been working on throughout his entire run, and he's tying them all together. And it's like this. Everything's coming to a head in one story, and that's awesome. I'm loving it.
What'd you guys think over at Elite or Comics Elite there, Drew?
Oh, Sean and I both loved it. This is what we've been waiting for. The last few issues we haven't really cared for that much. We're just like, we're like, this is filler. I want to get to the big story. I want to get to the backup page. This is what we're here for. And hey, there it is, the Gary Frank cover. We finally got it. And when I initially read it, I got goosebumps, because seeing the One More Day teases, I'm like, whoa, are they actually doing this now? Because if they tease us with this and don't do it, I am going to be livid.
Right.
All right, Drew. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen, because they're hinting at it in the comic book itself, that if they get married, that goes against Mephisto's deal, right?
Right.
They're going to elope, and as soon as that happens, Peter's going to die.
Bring it, baby.
I hope
that's what happens in Amazing Spider-Man 74. You heard it here first.
Yeah, but he's got to deal with the One Above All. Maybe Mephisto and One Above All sit there and go, hey, wait, we got to talk about this. So he's got to deal with Spider-Man. He's got to deal with
Peter. We know
with
Ben Reilly's going to be Spider-Man for at least 7 months, right?
Yeah, at least.
So maybe Peter has to work out some kind of deal in the afterworld or something before he comes back.
It's like a work release program or something like that.
Yeah, he's going to be in Hades trying to get himself back to the one he loves.
Yeah, this is weekly, right? I think this is weekly how they're doing this. And this is exciting. I love it. This is perfect.
The only way Peter can get back is he has to go back through the green door.
And I'm excited to read the next Spider-Man in conjunction with the miniseries. And if you look at how much you're spending, usually you don't say that.
Yeah, who's writing ASM the next? Who's writing ASM coming
A
out?
whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
It's going to
Including
be
Pat Gleason.
Yep.
Kelly Thompson, Patrick Gleason, Zeb Wells, a dude that doesn't normally write comics. There's 5 of them. I know
What?
that.
Someone that doesn't write comics?
Yeah, not really. Kenneth Dowling, thank you so much. He saw the review of Sinister War. I'll give it a look. Hope Spencer delivers in the end. You are not going to be disappointed. If you like Spider-Man, if you despise One More Day, this is the comic book for you. It's full of action, full of drama, and all the little subplots that you always wanted.
And all the villains are in it too.
Absolutely, every
All
single
of them.
villain. So, Gervais, you do not like to part way with money $5 at a time for comic books.
Oh, you're right
Have
about
you
that.
been
I mean, I'm
enticed
glad
to
to
get
hear.
Sinister? Have you
I am
been enticed to get
tempted.
Sinister
I'm
War yet?
tempted, but I'm holding to my principles.
don't
I like
do
the
it.
whole. I like the whole New World Order. What it sounds like, Wolfpack, Latino World Order thing going on in the book. But I'm holding to my guns. I'm waiting for the Midtown Comics flash sale, and then I'll get caught up.
Lane Kramer predicts Spider-Man after Spencer will be a dumpster fire. It's a good chance.
Yeah, there's a very good chance of that. You got Salad Man, you got Kelly
it's gonna be
Thompson.
A holding
Listen.
pattern for sure.
Nick Spencer could have this stuff mapped out. He could have had it outlined, and they're plotting and developing it, and filling in the blanks.
Salad Man will find some way to screw it up.
Well,
Same with Kelly Thompson.
Yes,
Doc,
I'm
you
just
love
looking
your
for
Mr. and
confidence.
Mrs. X.
Yeah.
I've read one competent thing by Kelly Thompson in her career. I've read
Yeah.
0 competent things from Salad Man. I've read a bunch of competent things from Zeb Wells. I've never read anything that Patrick Gleason's written.
But as long as he draws it, it's okay.
Yeah, I'd be fine with. Honestly, I'd be ecstatic if this was just Zeb Wells and Patrick Gleason on this book. I would be fucking ecstatic. I'd be like, all right, done and done. I am in for the next couple of years.
I'm hoping this is a tryout for one of these people at least.
I hope to God it's the tryout for. I think it might be a tryout for all of them.
Right.
The same way that X-Men was the tryout, and then Rosenberg got the full deal, at least until Hickman. Yeah. So with any luck, Zeb Wells, picks up the gauntlet here and runs with it. Because you know what? It's really it's been a very, very good run. This is something I want to talk to Wes about at some point, but the way that I think one of the reasons why that this book has done well, it's picked up steam. I don't know what the sales are like. I don't think anybody can tell us what the sales are like because nobody knows what sales are anymore. But I'm betting it's probably picked up readers as it's gone on, and it's because Spencer has done a very, very good job of weaving B plots and C plots and D plots through this. And now we're getting the culmination of a lot of them.
I do want to give a shout out to you first. Thank you, support of the channel. I don't want to put the cart before the horse. Well, I do. That's what we do here on the channel. Because of the solicitations for Beyond, they explicitly say that Peter fails. How big is this failure? So you make a good point there. My assumption right now is that once they elope and they dissolve the One More Day deal with Mephisto, that Peter dies. He could fail, and it's actually Peter almost dies, and Mary Jane herself dies once they get married. That could be his failure. You got a point there, you first. That would be, whew.
Yeah, and that would be the Spencer rug pulling that I'm hoping we don't get at the end here.
Hopefully it's just Aunt May. Hopefully it is Aunt May that does die. Yeah.
Oh man.
Man, you say stuff like that, people are going to be mad at you.
If I've got to choose here, if I got to choose between the three, the old lady's had a run.
How many
she's
times
been
has
around.
she died now?
And she was a secret agent at one point. She's had a good run.
Yeah,
She's had a good run.
And she
did
died
well.
before.
Yeah.
Yep, she died in ASM 400. So I'm good with that.
It's time to let go.
Plus, we've got the Ultimate Universe invading the 616 soon. We can get a new Aunt May.
Yes.
Well, the other thing is, if Aunt May does die, then what opens the door for is then Peter and Mary Jane have a baby, They name her Mayday Parker, and now I'm good. I get Spider-Girl sometime in the future, so I'm good with that.
Yeah, I mean
That's what needs to happen.
No legacy characters.
Man, Tevye Smoke is he'll be happy if Aunt May dies. That's a bold statement, Tevye. Wow. I thought you were such a nice young man.
That's reaching, but
I'd be fine with May dying.
So is Ethan Van Sciver in the chat.
Ethan says, "Hey, kill Aunt May, bring back Uncle Ben."
No. Bad Ethan, no.
Bad Ethan.
No, we're not bringing back fucking Ben. Not gonna happen.
Makes sense.
Not even for the rice?
Fully convert him over to Iron Lad and just change his origin.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so
yeah, look. If I'm really hoping they don't pull the rug, they don't do the rug pulling bullshit that Spencer's good for. And I really want to see. I mean, you have this whole other subplot going on right now with Doctor Strange versus Mephisto, basically setting up a game with the stakes being Peter's deal.
Yeah.
Well, not really his soul, but his deal.
Actually, I think so.
So you could theoretically, get, Strange could hold the key here.
Well, and there's also something. If you remember one more day, Mary Jane whispers something to Mephisto. We don't know what it is. So
everyone believes that she actually accepted the deal and it wasn't Peter.
Okay, so that's what it is. Okay,
that's what everyone believes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So Strange is gambling for no reason.
Essentially, they're playing roulette.
Have we seen him gambling before? He's not a good gambler, right?
No.
Doctor Strange.
No.
Did he play poker? And when they brought up that stuff, like the Vegas and Hell, did he play?
I think he did. He may have won that card game. I'm not sure, but he made some really bad decisions then.
I remember
I think
his problem is he tries to bargain with things that he doesn't necessarily have. like when he tried to sell his soul for ultimate power, and it's like, well, wait a second, you don't even own all your soul, buddy.
Yeah.
And so
it works for Constantine.
He overplays his hand a lot.
All right, so I think we're all on board Sinister War #1. I'm hoping Gevian gets on board as well. You need to invest in this comic.
Yeah.
It's worth your time, sir.
It really is.
Nay. I say thee nay.
And you know what? At $5, it was actually...
It was worth it.
It was, I mean, size-wise, you got...
How many pages was it? How many pages was it?
I think it was 48.
Yeah, something like that.
It was a long comic.
I'm not the biggest Bagley fan, but it didn't insult me. So,
if it was 64, I'd do it.
I don't know. You get over double what a normal comic is for only $1 extra. I mean, they're not.
And there was no backup story. And there was no backup story.
Nope. There were B plots and C plots.
There's 12 villains, dude, in this book.
Way more than 12. There's at least 30 villains.
That's right.
Yeah.
6 on each team, 5 teams.
Yeah. You got 30 villains.
Plus Kindred, so 31 at least.
I can't encourage these people. I can't encourage these people because I'll do it on this one and it's good, and then I'll be looking at 20 of them at $5 a pop.
You didn't start with Beta Ray Bill. That's a very upsetting thing to hear.
Oh,
that one was very good.
Oh, that was.
I mean, that's art.
Yeah,
you know.
I know. I've got two. I've got 2 up into the current. I love Darren Wayne. He's become my new favorite guy. Was it Daniel Warren Johnson? And I was like, I just can't do it. I can't.
He's got a Wonder Woman story out there, Dead Earth, I think it is, and then he's also got what is that?
Some creator-owned stuff.
So you've got a $5 limit, no matter how.
Murder Falcon. That's the one you need to read.
You've got a $5 limit, no matter how good it is. What?
Dude, Pele.
No matter how many pages.
We have all been in this business too long to understand how these guys work. Okay, if I encourage these guys by buying these $5 comics, then they're gonna just feel like they can give me anything at $5, and I'm not doing it.
It'd be one thing if they were paying their people,
encouraging them to make good
know?
comics. That's what you could be encouraging them to do.
Speaking of
Okay, Doc, you gonna back me up on this one. They don't differentiate enough to see if I'm buying the good comics at $5. They're just saying, oh, we can get Daragan to buy one at $5, so we're just gonna put a bunch out there. We always do.
He's not wrong.
25 to 50% of them.
A 64-page comic is worth it at $5.
Exactly.
Honestly,
so if it was 64, I'd be there.
Honestly,
Joe,
I think even 48.
Extremity from Daniel Warren Johnson.
Real quick, Daniel Warren Johnson, he has an issue. He has a story coming up in the next week's Superman Red and Blue. I read it last night. I was in tears reading it. It is
I love the guy.
It's about fathers and sons.
So they got to do something to fix Red and Blue. Damn,
dude. I was in tears. It is fantastic.
All right, well, I'm going to check. I'll probably review that. I want to read that. We've got a super chat from Ryan Wilson. Thank you very much, Ryan. Did they make an issue that goes over the history so you understand what's going on in Sinister War? Haven't read Spider-Man before, and I was lost.
I'd say issue 70 was actually
the prelude. Yes, kind of.
If you just go and read Spider-Man 70, Amazing Spider-Man number 70, I think you'll have a pretty good idea of what's going on. It was a very good kind of interlude issue, but also does a lot of the setup and kind of reminds you of a lot of the subplots going on before Sinister War number 1.
Absolutely. So yeah, I would go check out ASM 70. That is the prelude, and it kind of sets the table for it. We've also got Kenneth Dallin. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. He's changed the subject, but I will like this because I do like Nightwing. I just bought Nightwing by Kyle Higgins, volumes 1 and 2. I think Chuck Dixon is the better Nightwing writer, but the art by Eddie Barrows is outstanding. Eddie Barrows is outstanding. And the only issue with Kyle Higgins' Nightwing run, and it had all the makings of a classic, I think you'll remember this, is they kept interrupting it with events. Like it couldn't sell on its own.
I thought it was the change in color of his suit was the problem with that book.
Nah.
No, it wasn't.
They just kept interrupting it.
I heard a lot of people
issues in it. It's
that.
Going back to some Batman story.
Yeah, it's true. That was all that whole death of the family and whatever, year zero.
And the Trinity War and
And then, of course, they went and did the whole Grayson thing. Man, I really have a problem with New 52 anyway. I agree, though, here. Chucky Dix, I like to say in the store. He did really good. Nightwing was very much, it felt like he had some hokey villains. It felt like very Dick Tracy, which is, that and Batman have some silly villains, but they're very much steeped in the character's mythos, and I liked it a lot. And Scott McDaniel, not the greatest artist. Eddie Barrows probably is a lot better, but that was the 90s. We were okay with McDaniel because he didn't have crazy cross-hatching all the time. But I love Chucky Dix, man. That and Birds of Prey. Greg Land was doing the art, and I don't think he was using the computer images quite the way he does, or the photoshopping or whatever.
No, he was still tracing porn.
Doc, come on. We got to get back on top. But I will say this to Kenneth before we go. If you like that Kyle Higgins Nightwing, go read the new Order. That one's pretty dope. Although it's kind of similar to what they're doing at Batman now, but it's a Nightwing-centric book. That was really good. Do we have anything else to say about Sinister War before we wrap this up and move on to a couple more topics?
Buy it.
Go buy it.
Absolutely buy it. You're going to want to be on that one. We've got some new DC titles. We talked about that Kelly Sue DeConnick Wonder Woman that's finally coming out on Black Label. But what do we've got DC versus Vampires. We've got Task Force Z, a zombie book, even though we already have Deceased. We've got a new Human Target. What else have we got? We got a couple other books out there. Batman the Imposter, and also Catwoman Lonely City. Drew, as the man behind Comics Elite, or one of the men behind Comics Elite, which one are you the most interested in or maybe disappointed? Which one's got your eye?
I will say the one that's got my eye because of the recent success of Deceased, I'm holding out hope for DC Universe of the Vampire War. I'm holding out hope for that.
Tynan Rosenberg.
Yes, I have a strong feeling that could be very good. And if Matt Rosenberg has the right editor, it can be a good run. It could be a solid run. But
There's
the
gotta
one
be some sharp vampire teeth. I got to tell you, because nobody's getting through Superman's skin with vampire teeth, unless they're made of kryptonite.
Yeah. Ooh, there we go.
Or magic, maybe.
Yeah. But the one I'm looking forward to the least is that the Black Label Catwoman, the Cliff Chang. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of his art. It's good, but it's not my flavor. I've never been the biggest fan of Cliff Chang. It's meh. It's got that retro style to it, but it's just meh. It's okay. But
plus it's a Gotham without Batman, Joker, Dick Grayson, and Commissioner Gordon.
So New York City. Okay, great, cool.
Chicago, Gervais. What the hell? We've also got Lane Kramer. He says, I want to say they can fire that Batman imposter writer, bring on Peter Tomasi to rewrite it, and make it interesting. Hey, I'm on the Tomasi trade. Bring him in and on there. Yeah. The Batman the Imposter thing, I guess it's got the screenwriter of the Batman. Were you impressed with the information that we got on that one, Yule?
No, not at all. None of these really excite me. I would say that I am a big Cliff Chang fan as far as the art, but hey, if you want some Batman without Batman, here's Catwoman. I don't need another one. And I mean, they're really killing this goose.
The covers will sell.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm really hoping I can sell this one, and in its own little vacuum, I should do really well with it. But as far as really being excited for this or all the other books, I am not. It's a rudderless. It's what it feels like.
I feel like the Superman versus vampires thing, their teeth are magic.
There you go.
No.
Well, it's led by Green
the
Arrow
beams
and
are magic.
Batman.
The teeth are just teeth.
No, but they're magic. The whole being is magic.
Oh,
In which case the teeth are.
So, real quick, back in the early 2000s, I think Ian Churchill did the art on a Superman story where Lois Lane and Clark go to a castle and visit the vampire. Vampire bites into Superman, and he explodes into light. And it's just like, he didn't realize he's a solar battery.
You don't want to be sucking that blood.
Yeah, but if you cut Superman, does he bleed light?
Magic teeth.
Well, it is.
No one
it
cuts
is the
Superman.
new
No one
DC.
knows
So.
what happens. What are you talking about?
Well, you can stab him with a kryptonite blade, and it just bleeds normal, like red blood.
Yeah, but the yellow sunlight though is part of his blood, and when they try to take that nourishment from it, it just kills them.
Oh yeah, they definitely
explode.
could turn him because there'd be whatever the sunlight is inside of the cells, but I don't know.
You know what's crazy? If you're John Kent, we just had established in Superman that he can go through the different spectrums of light, and he could just go to ultraviolet light and blow them up. So he might be the perfect weapon. Gervais, you got on board Deceased after the fact. Are you willing to jump in on Task Force Z or DC versus Vampires?
Well, I'll say this. I'm with Drew. Because I slept on Deceased, I am going to give DC versus Vampires a chance. And I'm very happy to say it looks like, at least from the promo, the cover price is $3.99. So I'm there.
Holding the line at $3.99.
Yes.
That's right.
What either Vince Skyber just said right there. Yes, that is best nerd conversation in weeks right here.
That's right.
This is our conversation every fucking week.
Yeah, that's what nerds do.
So interesting stuff. What are you most interested in, Pele? Come on.
The Catwoman covers. DC versus Vampires, probably. Yeah, that and the Catwoman covers, but all the rest, I'm just gonna phase out on this.
I just wasn't very impressed with any of them.
It's very disappointing and just kind of blah. The Vampires thing. I was one of those that slept on the Deceased at first.
Yeah, it said Tom Taylor on the cover. I wasn't.
Tom Taylor, and it's like, I wouldn't touch
months
that.
to finally read it.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch that with Cobblepot's Johnson. But it was amazing, and it was shockingly good. And when he gets editorial, like really, really tough on his ass and keep him in line, he's awesome. So, as long as he doesn't get to, meander too far into politics, he's great. The problem is how long does that last? But yeah, it's probably going to be good if editorial can keep it in line.
We had
Yeah,
John Yang do exclusive covers for us for Deceased, and those helped a lot. He did Joker, Batman, Harley Quinn. They were fantastic, and I'm hoping we can arrange something with him.
Yeah, the horror movie covers sold like extremely well. The covers of the horror movie posters, those were great. The same thing with Stray Dogs when they redid those. Oh,
Come
man.
on, Bailey, you gave me the perfect transition to the next topic. Speaking of those wonderful covers, we had some news about Stray Dogs and Something is Killing the Children this week. Something that is Killing the Children is being adapted for Netflix. It's also spinning off its own Slaughterverse. We've got the House of Slaughter coming out, but we also had Stray Dogs, which is a lower profile comic, does not have James Tynion attached to it, but it's shipped over like 160,000 issues so far.
Oof.
As a comic book retailer, Pele, which one's the bigger deal?
Something is Killing the Children because it has the track record. But you can't sleep on Stray Dogs because that is just, it's got steam right now. And if I could get, I don't care what printing it is, I don't care what issue it is, what printing it is. If I could get copies of it, I would be happy. But just can't get them right now. They're sold out. They're everywhere. And but yeah, those in the new horror movie, the poster covers are just like Deceased. They are sold out, and they are amazing. And it gets me too, because the people that love these are the animal lovers, and they're the ones that suffer the most reading this series.
Yes, that is true.
It's a tough one.
I'll mention it again. My wife bawled like a little baby reading the final issue, and it's just awesome. It's really so well written. The art is just on point. It's amazing. So. But I still gotta go with Something's Killing Children because it does have the track record. It's got, it's going to be a really good series if it's executed well. It's going to be one of those Buffy the Vampire Slayer type.
Yeah, but can they really do the stuff in the book on Netflix? I mean, there's children being disemboweled in multiple.
Yeah, they did similar to that in Buffy. They just didn't go all the way, and I think that that could be. That could be great. It could be great.
I have a feeling that streaming television is going to avoid disemboweling children on stream.
No.
Just a feeling here.
Pele, talk to Jasper Plan 9 right now.
Maybe she could. Yeah, I would do that.
It's worth $1,500.
I would do that as long as it's a first print. Make sure it's a first print. Make sure it's a first print because there's a lot of printings of that damn book.
Yes, a first print, it's worth a lot of money.
But yeah, if it's a first print and it's high grade, yeah, it's worth a lot of money, and you should definitely get it. At least put it in Mylar and get it protected.
Yes, you need to get that one graded. Comics Expo, thank you so much, Chris. Way to go, Stray Dogs. I'm behind on reading Something's Killed the Children. Well, they just entered into the origins of the House of Slaughter and all that stuff. So.
Well, you're talking about Something is Killing the Children would be difficult to have on a television show. Stray Dogs is rougher in a lot of ways than Something is Killing the Children.
Having real life children disemboweled on TV is different than having like animated dogs in a serial killer's house.
So
yeah.
we talked to Trish Forster. We've talked to Trish Forster on our channel. We've had her on a few times, the artist for the series. Mm-hmm. And the deal for the movie was done last year. Paramount Animation has it. The director is lined up who did Game Night. He's going to be doing it. It's going to be done in the style of Don Bluth animation, and they're going there as far as I know. They're going all the way with it. And yeah, because apparently the director of it is good friends with Tony Fleeks, the writer. And yeah, so right now
they're not pulling punches.
Get them.
So it could.
Right. I would be worth a crap ton of money.
I would say because it's animated that it wouldn't be quite as hard hitting as far as impactful, but
emotionally, it'll be emotionally powerful.
Dude,
it's emotionally, yeah.
People, I mean, all right. So when I saw that Walking Dead was going to be a TV series, I was thinking this is a thing. This is a thing to pay attention to. I think Stray Dogs being animated is a thing because it seems very obvious that you would do something like this, but it's not been done. And people are going to, Oh God, just don't spoil it for people.
People will lose their minds.
It's gonna be awesome.
It's it's like,
God.
oh, this looks like Pixar. This looks like Disney. Oh,
It's like when you read the first volume of The Promised Neverland, and you're reading it, you're like, oh, it's just some kids in a school, and it's a little different. And then when you get to the bigger reveal, you're like, they're doing what? Like, oh my God, kind of thing. Because the art itself doesn't make you think that you're reading a horror manga. You think you're reading a kids manga until you get there.
But
Silence of the Dogs.
Challenging material like this, kids do need this to grow up. It does help. I believe.
Well, I mean, this is where you're like talking about young adult or young adult plus.
This will certainly spark a lot of conversations between kids and their parents.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And there is some F words.
I'm going to avoid the dog murder show. Yeah, we're just gonna. I'm gonna not do that.
It's gonna be
I wouldn't blame you, Doc.
You have to at least watch the first whatever it is, just like The Walking Dead. I didn't need another episode after the first one.
I mean, we all did just get done like making fun of Disney for trying to justify that puppy killing bitch getting her own movie, right?
Yeah, but this doesn't have
different. It's not like
not trying to justify. This is not trying to justify anything.
This is just art, baby.
Fair. I get it.
Comics Exposed. The question is, how much Netflix will ruin something that's killing the children? I think it'll be trash once Netflix gets its hands on it. Got a point there.
But
I don't like Netflix stuff for the most part.
I'm afraid that they will.
Not even The Witcher?
They're gonna lock.
I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it.
Witcher is awesome. God.
They're gonna lock and key it.
Good.
They're gonna lock and key. Something is killing the children. I'm telling you that right now.
What the hell does that mean, Doc? You're using
it means they're going to take all of the spice out of it and basically make it some stupid little like YA adventure series.
Like Buffy.
The one thing I'll say about locking,
I can see them making it just like Stranger Things, making it like almost like that.
Maybe.
Yeah,
it's going to be hard for them to be showing children like disemboweled, missing legs, and being eaten.
It is in the name, though. So, like, if you can't get past that,
if you can't have the killing the children part, you kind of don't have the show.
You can imply that it's happening. I just, it's pretty graphic in the comic.
Yeah, they're kind of hanging. They're kind of hanging from trees by their guts.
There's like guts and stuff.
Yeah,
like there's a lair.
It'll be the kids' bop version.
Yeah, something is making the kids uncomfortable.
Something is making the children cry.
I'm just surprised on with Stray Dogs because James Tynion's a known name. He's on Batman. He was on Detective Comics. He's had some big success. He's done the Batman TMNT books. Like, not a lot of people know who Tony Fleecs is, and it's really just caught a life of its own. It might be the next Walking Dead, where it kind of just snowballs. The next thing you know, it's one of those perennial titles.
It's only 5 issues. That's it. It's only the 5, and then
there's going to be a one-shot coming soon.
Yes, one shot for Free Comic Book Day. And then I talked to Trish. They had talked about possibly doing one shots talking about each of the dogs later on in the year, maybe. But yeah, this is a self-contained story.
Those first prints are so hard to find.
Yeah, I've got one. I got the acetate at home, signed by Tone Rodriguez. Yep. Yeah, love it. Yeah,
so good. Gevian, have we talked you into buying any of this stuff?
Get the collection.
I'm gonna check out this. I'm gonna check out both. Actually, yeah, this sounds interesting. Yeah,
Stray Dogs is one of those that if you're an animal lover, it is so painful to read, but it is so well written and drawn that you're just pulled into it.
Watch our interview with Trish Forstner, the artist, on our channel. We talked to her for over an hour, maybe 2 hours, and talked about the whole thing. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, my wife was just saying this. She says, she's like, "Yeah, I hated it, but she kept asking me, when the next issue was coming out."
Free comic.
This is terrible. Oh, when's the next one?
Lade Kramer says, "I just read Masters of the Universe versus Injustice. That would be the best comic I've ever read from Tim Seeley. Shazam, He-Man versus Evil Superman, and Darkseid attacking Castle Grayskull. So stupid and so much fun. It absolutely is. And the art from Freddie Williams II.
That's right.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. I need to come back to you. You read a good book from Tim Seeley?
I've read a couple of them, but
Yeah,
this
it
was the
was-
best. He's got some pretty good Nightwing stories in his
Okay,
DC Rebirth.
I'll take your word for that. I was just going to say, because I don't think that that's a thing that exists, but okay.
Yeah, there's a couple of them out there. Absolutely. And this is the best one, in my opinion. So that is absolutely done fun. And the art is just, that's where it's at, Drew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So congratulations. That one's really great. And definitely read the Batman versus TMNT stuff if you haven't. And
Yes.
James
Yep.
Stein. Volumes
Right.
1 and 3 only. Skip volume 2. Comics Exposed. Chris says, sorry, I got a jet. Hope everyone has a great weekend, and thanks for the conversation. God bless. Well, thanks you very much,
Chris.
and you have a blessed weekend, Chris.
You too.
Enjoy the your times in the nerd sphere here. Do we have anything else to say about Stray Dogs and something that's going to show me before we get to Loki?
Buy them both.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I would say Stray Dogs is the bigger deal because it's only 5 issues, and it's been able to build up this steam with just 5, whereas Something in Killing the Children has had, I don't know, up to
It's on 17.
17.
Yeah, but you get so
17.
much reading material with Something is Killing the Children. It's so good.
Stray
in
Dogs
one issue
also-
they drive. It's a little
Yeah.
slower.
Yeah,
Stray Dogs, I think all the issues are going to be, they're going to have like subsequent printings, so those should be available soon if they're not already out.
Mhm.
I just think it's crazy how it's kind of taken a life on of its own. Now let's get into the Loki season finale. We've all been waiting for this one. Michael Johnson Curie. What is everyone's thoughts on Ninja K? He came in late. Drew, what did you guys recommend Ninja K?
No.
Ninja.
Sean didn't even order it. Ernie at the big store didn't even. We saw the art. We saw the art, and Ernie automatically went 0. I'm putting a 0 here, 0. And Ernie,
Ninjax.
Ernie computer. He's like, what the? He's like 0, 0, 0, and it's like, all right, that says it all.
It's sold. I mean, I got like 10 copies. It's sold.
Well, did you enjoy it, Pele? Did you read a copy before you put it out there?
No.
Buying 10 copies yourself doesn't count as selling.
No, they did sell because we got, the people put them on their requests, so they got them in their folders. So
Yeah, Ninjak's one of the big characters at Valiant. And they're
He's back to
relaunching.
being Ninjak also.
Yeah,
It's not
he's
the
not Ninja
program.
K anymore. He's
Yeah. I thought it was pretty good. And the art, I mean, those pages, I understand where people are coming from, but overall, it wasn't all like that. And the way Javier Pulido works with the, it's more like kind of sort of manga style where
It's a
things are
fucking coloring
happening,
book.
but it's things are happening while the story is being told through words. So it's more than just that. But overall, it was pretty good.
It's a coloring book.
Read Shadow Man,
not
guys.
just-
Shadow Man is the best.
It's not
book.
black and
Shadow
white.
Man is good. Yeah, that Cullen Bunn
Yeah.
book. And I'm actually enjoying that one. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, Michael Johnson Curie. All right,
Loki.
let's talk about the Loki season finale. I know Gervain's not going to be able to contribute to this one. I think it sounds like he got through halfway through the first episode and checked out.
No, I got through the whole first episode, and I liked it. It's just my wife and daughters fell asleep. We were traveling, so I'm not sure if they want to continue watching it. So I got to kind of wait because they were the ones who recommended watching it in the first place. But I thought at least the first episode was good. As I responded to Pele's tweet, that I like the sort of very soft biblical allusion to basically Loki being pretty much a vessel of dishonor. Like, his sole existence. It kind of took the reason why the Avengers were formed in the first place. It kind of applied to his whole life. Like, you're only there to basically challenge and make other people better. And the fact that now Loki kind of has to deal with the fact that he wasn't as great as he thought he was. So I thought it was a good setup for what was to come. But I'm going to binge watch it tomorrow. So, but I think from what I read in the article you said, I like how they're going to tie this back into basically what's going to be phase 3 in the MCU. I think it's a good way to tie it in. So
Phase
we'll
4,
see.
yeah.
Phase 4.
I don't know,
I think it's good.
What did you think? They didn't really solve any of the storylines that were going on in season 1. We know there's going to be a season 2, and it felt like I got the Architect in the Matrix Reloaded again, but a much more exciting version of that character.
There's another. I want to point out something here. There's another series where one of the main protagonists in it is a villain who she is evil as all hell. She murders people out of hand. She's absolutely selfish in her desires and everything she wants to do. But oh, my poor lady, she is such a victim, and there's justifiable circumstances for her slaughtering all these people. No, there isn't. And she's a villain, and there's nothing sympathetic about her. And, you know, what
Loki's
the hell?
Loki's villain,
people?
too, though. He killed a lot of people.
Yeah, he's a villain. And they made him into a simpering little whiny bitch who follows her around, you know, going, oh, but I love her. Oh,
well, technically he loves himself.
Yeah, well, that's the whole point. But it's still just absolutely asinine. They turn him into a pussy.
Thank you very much to Comics Louders Pro Secrets with $20 super chat. Thanks for being a fun show about comics. Really enjoying it, gentlemen. Here's my tip.
Thanks, Ethan.
Thank you very much for contributing. We really appreciate you supporting the channel.
There we go.
Thank you, Ethan.
Got the hoodie right
there. You go.
Anyway, he's a simp. He's a simp in his own show. It was terrible to watch that. And, you know, we get 45 minutes of exposition dump per episode where everybody's just sitting around and talking and like 5 minutes of action. So it's like, bleh.
This is just Loki, god of middle management.
There you go. That's probably one of the best ways to put it. You know, they answered questions, but they answered them in such a way that you were so bored in the process that you felt like gouging out your eyes.
I'm just pissed that Kang doesn't look at all like fucking Kang.
Right.
That's not Kang yet. He says the bad versions of him are coming. That's going to be Kang. This is just a version of himself.
It's just a very effeminate
everything in
version.
line and keeping Kang himself actually at bay. He should be blue when he comes back.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Okay.
Ryan Wilson says, "Is it me or have all these Marvel shows been a letdown of what we expected?"
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It had the same
Not
damn
Daredevil.
thing with.
But
Daredevil, yeah. Well, that's before Disney got involved. Yeah.
Daredevil
was good compared to this.
Daredevil was a street level hero with a street level hero budget for a television show, which made fucking sense. These are all superheroes that have the budget of a fucking CW show.
Yeah, it seems that way.
I will say this to Doc Points. When I was watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the first episode, it was like the way that episode opened, and then the way the rest of the episode played out. Yeah, you're right. It felt like they spent the whole budget in the first 5 minutes.
I love that first scene. It was awesome.
That first scene was fantastic.
Dude,
and then it was like, yo, what happened?
It's like this felt like an MCU movie, right? You're like, wow.
They did the same thing with Black Widow. They did the same thing with WandaVision. You know, it's like this. They got some chick doing absolutely the most disgusting, terrible, awful things, torturing people, destroying them. But people just don't know what you've gone through for. No. She murdered all these people. She abused all these people. You know, it's like, no.
See, this is, what that was their shorthand for, you know, we started with Loki as basically being an unrepentant piece of shit in the first Thor movie. And we've had, Thor 2, Thor 3, Avengers, and the beginning of Infinity War, in which he had basically time to evolve and change. So he became a sympathetic villain over us. This is their shorthand, shortcut way of making her sympathetic without actually doing any of the fucking work.
Right. And you got the whole, at the end with Infinity War, he'd redeemed himself, at least in most respects, you know, with his valiant attempt to try to kill Thanos at the end, in that one instance. And he did that to try to save his brother. And in that, it was like, wow, that was pretty amazing. That is the hero, that's a good hero's journey arc right there. And now they're like, well, to further redeem him, we're going to turn him into a simp.
Well,
but that's the thing is that. Go ahead, Wes.
No.
Jimmy
from Comics Work says he loves this show, and I invited you to hear Jimmy so you could talk positive about it. You told me to screw myself.
That's
okay.
Jimmy.
You didn't say that. You said you were busy, but that's why I invited you, buddy, so you could talk good about it. I'm sorry, Jimmy.
No, but it's like they could have done the Loki thing. I thought a little bit different because, like, say, like the scene that Pele is talking about where he tries to kill Thanos, and it's like the thing is that Loki, I think, is about two things. He is about himself first, but he's also about Asgard to some extent. So the thing is, him trying to kill Thanos as like this is like the Asgard's last stand makes a little bit more sense because he's trying to preserve something that he ultimately wants to take over himself. But I think Simonson got it right when the three were facing off against Thor, Odin, and Loki, where basically, like, you know, Odin's like for Asgard, Thor's like for Midgard, and Loki's like for myself. And that's the thing, is that's the essence of the Loki character. So he can be a good anti-hero, which means he ends up doing good things that happen to benefit people, but his motivation should always be like, yeah, I'm looking out for me. And I think now it seems like what the Loki series has done is that he kind of realized in the very beginning that everything he was trying to get done, he completely failed at. And you would think that it would just kind of then sort of make him like redouble his efforts, to redouble his efforts, and then just still be looking out for himself. So that's what I thought, at least watching the first episode, it was really going to be about Loki doing whatever he has got to do, but still scheming on some level. Still scheming and trying to get over it and trying to reset it so that he doesn't end up being basically what they told him at the very beginning of the show, being a loser.
Now, the old-fashioned Loki was awesome. He was the best Loki in the whole damn Loki
Richard
show.
Grant, I was going to say,
Yes, my
Richard
God.
Grant, Loki versus Throg. I want to
That was Loki.
Richard Grant, Loki versus Throg.
I would have,
boom.
yeah, like I would have preferred this been 6 episodes about each of the 6 different Lokis, and the MCU Loki, it being an entire episode of him pretending to be DB Cooper. That was the most interesting part there. And then if they would have done like an alligator Loki episode, I would have been fine. It didn't even have to have words. It could have just been an alligator Loki jumping on people and trying to eat
biting their heads.
So Kenneth Dalek says, I almost didn't watch. Frankly, this whole Loki series was a waste of time. I really like Jonathan Majors as an upcoming actor, but his talents were wasted here. A bad way to bring King the Conqueror. Well, they're not only bringing King the Conqueror, they've got the multiverse in shambles. I think this is how they're going to introduce the Fantastic Four and X-Men.
Yeah, more than likely.
The multiverse of madness.
So there's a lot of opportunities here that they've really opened up themselves for, but
see,
it was so boring. There's so much fun that could have been had with this, and they could have gotten to the same spot. And they decided to remove all the fun in the name of this weird love story to get over a character we're never going to see again, probably, that Sylvie. Certainly never play a prominent role. And
everybody's buying all the
Tom
Enchantress
Hiddleston doing
issues.
crazy shit with Mobius.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would have, it would have been a more interesting show if they just made him be like a librarian. For like him just being miserable and having to file fucking records. That would have been funnier. Like just turn it in. If you're gonna make it into The Office, then just make it into The Office.
It would have the budget for it. I'll say that.
And destroying all of the legacy of the Infinity War and all the Infinity Stones and how important and everything they were, and turning them into paperweights. I mean, good God, that just pissed me off. That was just like, oh, but they're not worth anything here. Well, you got a little pocket dimension that ain't worth a shit and doesn't matter to anybody else anyway.
But this does start pondering a question that I've always wondered. If you clone yourself and have sex with that clone, is that incest or masturbation? And this show was kind of addressing that.
Pointless.
Doc just can't get over his Pornhub addiction.
Yeah.
There you go.
And,
that's
Can
it.
we stop the subscription?
I'm definitely thinking that, like, me personally, I came away. I was just disappointed. I got to see the ending of Matrix Reloaded again, which I loathed the first time. I got to see the big cliffhanger from Tim Burton's, what was that, Planet of the Apes, that I hated the first time.
Yeah.
Although I guess it's more meaningful this time. And that was it for me. You didn't watch it, right?
No, I can't stand this stuff.
Yeah,
God
you
bless
don't
you.
want to watch it. It wasn't very good.
I hear people, wow, this is I never thought I'd be able to see this comic book realized on screen. And that wasn't something I ever thought growing up. And it's just, when Superman happened, that was a thing. It was awesome. And, Batman. But the way it is now, I think I feel that a lot of people aren't buying comics quite as much, just possibly, because of all this crap.
Yep.
And Doc, you do sound like Pendulette. He's got a point.
That's
one of his heroes. So
Joe is who is he? He's Adam Carolla.
He's Adam Carolla meets
Perch
Jeff
is
Jeff
is
Goldblum.
Kurt Loder.
Oh
You
yeah,
are
he
Pendulette.
is.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, Perch is definitely Kurt Loder.
And Nerdy Girl Creates, thank you so much for supporting the channel. They could have pulled from the comics and have Loki reborn instead of being a variant. Absolutely, they could have done a lot of things. And from what it sounds like to me, Nerdy Girl Creates is going to have her own YouTube channel somewhat soon. So,
all right,
Godspeed on that. I think people are going to enjoy that. If you ever want to come on the Comics Aficionados, let me know. You can come on here and talk.
We need more women in this sausage fest sometime.
It needs to be proven that is a thing.
Yeah,
That's right.
What needs to be proven?
That there's ladies in comics.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
ladies in comics.
I mean, I saw a conversation on Twitter. I'm sorry, this is a derail for a sec. There is such a lack of women diversity in the con scene right now. Cons are opening up, but it's just dudes getting the gigs. And really?
No, that's a bold-faced lie. I can tell.
Well, I saw it.
That's BS.
Well, that's like they banning all the costumes, and they're wondering where all the chicks went. It's like, okay,
Out of the con I went to, that was the main event. Was the cosplayer con?
I'm good.
Well, I meant creators. Like there's no women creators in the being invited to go to cons.
No, that's BS.
Right now.
I know from experience.
Okay, good.
I'm good with banning cosplay at events or at cons. I'm perfectly good with this. Fuck cosplay. And
The man that can't get Pornhub off of his mind doesn't like cosplay.
I don't.
They have that, right?
Well, I guess
why?
that's not one of your.
No, it's
things.
not one of my kinks.
he separates his likes that way.
Yeah.
I do. I
Yeah.
separate my porn likes from my comic
I'm
likes.
sorry, I can't
Man,
watch Avengers.
Ryan
porn.
Wilson is a millennial. You're a millennial shit. Tell him, Doc.
There's this thing called MTV.
And years ago, it played
music videos.
And
Kurt Loder was the news guy from
Just getting there, it was interrupted by news about Axl Rose not showing up to a concert.
Yeah,
like
5
Rob
minutes after
Liefeld.
every hour, you got a news break from Kurt Loder.
He's in the movie Airheads. He's the good guy. He's like the Lone Rangers. Wait, what? You can't pluralize that. Yeah.
Yes. Airheads is still a perfect movie.
Yes.
Whoa.
Love it.
Skip and Taj. Still running, fellas. Shout out to my brother Gevian, Doc, Pele, and Yule. If you're in the shop on Monday, I'm going to stop by.
Oh, I'm not open Monday. Tuesday. Come in Tuesday.
Oh,
You can't open it up for Skip. He's a friend of the channel.
Well, I would love to. Let's talk. Tweet
Slide
me.
into his
My DMs
DMs.
are open.
Get it, darling. The Netflix Marvel shows up until Iron Fist was much better than this. Daredevil was best. Absolutely. Daredevil season 1 and season 2 are basically perfect.
yeah, that hallway scene, one of the best.
Of course, we
one of
are
the best
getting
events in.
Charlie Cox as Daredevil coming back,
Mhm.
right? In that Spider-Man movie.
I hope to God so. He's
I
gotta
still
be good.
I believe those first 4 episodes of season 2 of Daredevil, that could have been a movie. That could have been a movie released. When it's fantastic. On the having the rooftop scene, him chained to the chimney. I'm like, they did it! Oh my God, they brought it from the pages and perfect.
Nerdgasm.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Kenneth Daly. Have we talked about Loki enough? I was disappointed. It sounds like a lot of other people were too.
Yeah, it wasn't. Everybody was like, "Oh, it's so woke." It wasn't woke. It was just boring.
It was just boring.
Lowered expectations.
Yeah.
Let's God of middle management.
Oh, but
Let's move on.
but I'm so proud that I was able to make him bisexual.
You guys interrupted me for lame jokes. We're moving on to the comic book recommendations. Wrap this bad boy up. Wait, Dark Animal March here. Thank you so much. Kurt Loder, the elder statesman of our generation. Absolutely. He's got the voice that inspired a generation. He along with Perch. All right, so we got comic book recommendations. What are you recommending this week, Gervais?
All right, well, I'm gonna go with this. For me, it's always Mighty Morphin #9. I know Tom Taylor doesn't always enjoy a great reputation, but I'm really enjoying Seven Secrets. So Seven Secrets #10. For those who come from a certain generation when you used to have cereal after school, for the old heads, and for the new kids who just like Batman and Scooby-Doo Mysteries #4. And as an honorable mention, even though I'm not going to buy it anytime soon, Sinister War #1. And I'm going to plug what has been a really educational and entertaining show here on Thinking Critical, Slabbed and Raw. That joint has both made me sing with joy and curl up in the corner about my comics that are sitting in boxes and plastic bags back in New York.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
We enjoy that. That's my real pleasure. Every week I get to do Slabbed and Raw.
Well, making me miserable, realize about comics are deteriorating back.
I'm the point of view character for all the people that don't know what the hell they're talking about. So I just asked all the dumb questions that hopefully all the viewers are wondering, and kind of keep it going. So that's been a lot of fun. We got a great show that will be live somewhat soon. We're almost done with our comic writing streams as well, so it'll be probably more fun live. All right, Drew, what do you guys recommend? You recommend people go to Big Apple Comic Con?
We have no one going to that show. The next show we're going to is Terrificon, Connecticut. We'll be there. Yeah. So I'm going to recommend Sinister War #1, Gary Frank cover. I flippin' love this cover. Nottingham #4. If you're not reading Nottingham, holy crap! Yes, so get good on this. So I'm going to give Mariko Tamaki some credit. She's writing Batman better than James Tynion. Detective Comics this past week was fantastic. Loved it inside and out. Main story, backup story, terrific. And last but not least, the Chimerian, the Man-Eaters of Zambula. This is Conan in his pure form. This is prime Conan. Blood, guts, tits, bush. That is Conan. That's how you do it.
That's what you get from the Ablaze Comics. Absolutely.
Yes.
Great recommendations. Yule, are you going to be able to top Blood, Tits, and Bush?
Yeah, I'm going to start right off with Barbarella by Dynamite.
Hey, there you go.
It's not nudity, really. It's more tasteful. You know, Barbarella is more of a romp, if you watch the original. It's written by a sci-fi writer I haven't read, Sarah Hoyt, and it was pretty cool first issue. I liked it. It looked really, really good. What else? Marvel Masterworks, or whatever they're calling it now, they have a new edition of the Fantastic Four, the first 10 issues. It's less than $20. Less than $20. So if you haven't got any old-ass Fantastic Four in your collection, this is for you. It's about manga size, a little bit bigger, and hopefully it will look good right next to all that manga at the Barnes & Noble. It files just right in there. Perfect. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Barbarella and Fantastic Four this week.
Doc, what are you recommending?
I'm recommending Sinister War #1. Excellent start to this event. I'm really hyped for it. I'm recommending Way of X #4. I am recommending going back and picking up some of the X-Men Inferno Omnibus Prologue.
Ooh.
Or the X-Men Inferno Prologue Omnibus. Sorry, my bad. I love Inferno. It's a great event. And the Prologue Omnibus, I think just recently came out, is in a new printing. So definitely pick that up.
All right, Yul, was that Fantastic Four Marvel Masterworks?
No, they're soft covers now. They're like I said, they're trying to compete with the smaller sized comics out there.
More digest type stuff.
Yeah, more digest. Yeah.
Wow, that's disappointing. You're gonna have to wait for the hardcover. Sorry,
that's right.
To either bear or bad news.
Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do.
All right, Pele, what are you recommending out of the shop this week?
All right, Drew got the Cimmerian. Yeah, that's what I was gonna.
Cimmerian is so good.
It is awesome. It is so brutal and just raw.
It's a mini series of Robert E. Howard stories in comic book form, right?
It's great, but the shop was Sinister War #1 was the recommendation from the shop. I'm going to go on two opposite ends of the spectrum, and I'm going to say that Challenge the Super Sons, if you're not reading it, buy copies of it, give it to the kids that you like, and get them into comics, because that awesome series, it never needs to go away. They need to keep making it forever. And The Lot by Bad Idea, it looks like it's going to be really, really interesting going forward.
I picked that up
wild
for you, Wes.
Ooh, it is spicy and it is raw. It's really good stuff. So
nice. Old School Comics is recommending Jimmy ditch the Cubs. Stop being a zero and become a hero and root for the Cardinals. That's
well, if they can win the next 2 games, people should think about it. But if they can't,
whatever, man. Kenneth Dowling, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Comic recommendation: Spider-Man Spider Shadow #4, the new What If series from Marvel Comics. Batman the Detective #4, Thor. Great show, guys. Pele, can you do the English boy begging for testosterone from last week? That was so funny.
My father, can I have some more? Can I have some testosterone? Oh my god, my little testes just shrunk down to the size of raisins. Oh, good god.
damn.
Asking you shall receive.
Is that all right?
Yeah. And thank you, Pele, for giving the people what they wanted.
Yep. Always on
I've
tap.
got a few recommendations. I'm going to recommend Eve from Boom Studios. Issue 3 came out this week. It's a pretty cool sci-fi dystopian future kind of comic book where a girl wakes up. She's got an enormous teddy bear that's walking her along her journey. She's going to save the world. We've also got the 3rd volume of Kanto Lionhearted came out this week. Definitely want to check out those guys. And what else was there? I think that's about it. Everything else was already on there. Check out The Good Asian 2. People seem to like that one.
I have to reorder that a lot.
It's called The Good Asian?
Yeah, it's what is it? It's like a noir, I think.
Yeah, it's a sequel to another older series, but I think people like that. Thank you, everybody, for supporting the channel. Thank you for being here. We had a great time, great panel. Talked about a lot of controversies and whatnot. We will be right here next weekend on the Comics Aficionados to talk about whatever is shaking in the comic book industry. Thank you all very much. Salamapo.
And wash your ass.
Goodbye.